clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it looks like we are live. How is everybody tonight? We've got a packed house and happy to see everybody here. So first we're going to go around the room, and I'm going to start with Tina, a Marvel girl. Woman of the Hour, just came off of a triumphant debate victory on with Conspiracy Cats. Not against Conspiracy Cats, just on Conspiracy Cats channel. Say hi and tell us what you think.
Hi, everybody. I don't know how triumphant I was, but thank you for that. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we set a game plan and she followed it, and it turned out great. Who do we got next? Let's just go clockwise. Mike the lawyer, say hi.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
Sorry. Getting the chat up.
Okay. Artie, what's going on? What's happening on your channel? Talk to us.
Just celebrated 3,000 subs last night.
Congratulations.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of generosity from a lot of my viewers. I really couldn't believe it, but yeah. I also have, as I told you guys, I have Sharon Tracy Gale Bay's transcripts for 3 of our hearings, which I'll be talking to. I've also sent them to Virgo Triad, so of course she's going to be able to talk about them herself.
Yay.
Ooh. Okay, Natalie, steadily growing at a rocket speed channel. Say hi and tell us what you got going on.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope everyone's going well. So yeah, some exciting things on the channel. We've done basically complete coverage of the Derek Chauvin trial via live stream, which is crazy because I didn't expect to really follow along with it like that. And that's been getting some pretty good views on the channel. And I don't know if everyone noticed, but last week I pretty much uploaded 1 video a week, 1 video a day, I mean. And so I'm going to endeavor to do that next week as well, Monday to Friday. I didn't announce it. I just started doing it. So I'm going to try to do it again next week.
That's
that's bold.
Yeah,
are those live streams or are you doing videos?
So pre-recorded, uploaded videos, and then the live streams are just bonuses if I can get to them.
Holy cow.
Oh, you are killing it.
Yeah, you are putting out a ton of content.
All right, here keeping the chat straight, taking out questions and reading super chats is Cliff Reynolds. Before you say hi, Cliff, let's just say any questions you ask, we're going to try to ask. Every super chat will get read. We'll just stop periodically when they build up a little bit. Pause, read them, and carry on. But say hi, Cliff.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. And OPT lawyer, what you got going on?
Hi, everybody. Well, I have something awesome to announce. I have exactly 123 subscribers. Woohoo!
Woo! All right.
Hey, 1, 2, 3. It's an OCD thing with me. So, but no, other than that, I'm doing as well as I could be right now.
Aren't you on Twitch or something though?
Yeah.
So you just started the YouTube thing?
Started as kind of YouTube's kind of just been a dump for my Twitch streams. But I recently started doing some vlogs about things on my YouTube channel. I tried actually streaming, which went all right. YouTube's a little weird, but I'm getting the hang of it. It's a lot weirder than
called?
Twitch.
I'll go over there, OPT. What's it called?
My Twitch channel, it's OPT Lawyer.
The YouTube.
Same thing.
Oh, same thing. OPT Lawyer.
OPT? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very creative.
well, if we're plugging, I've got a premiere starting tomorrow, noon Central Time.
I saw that.
Don't worry, it's awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Sounds good. As for me, I'm still on quarantine, so I'm putting out a lot more content than normal. Working on something for tomorrow, but this coming Thursday, which should be right around my last day of quarantine, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be celebrating my 80,000 subscriber special. Pretty much everybody you see on the panel is invited, and basically, it's going to be an entire party. I've invited like 20, 30 something content creators who have all agreed. So it's going to be a packed show.
He's flexing his friends on us now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Brainy Beaver will be there, but we're going to limit him to he's only allowed to talk 80% of the time. So, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Welcome, Benjamin Needens, hard name, to the Debunkers. Welcome, new channel member. So tonight, the overarching theme of tonight is do not talk to police. And I've got 4 lawyers here who's all going to tell you why you shouldn't talk to the police. It's not even a question. Like one of them said earlier, this is going to be a quick stream if this is all we're going to talk about, because the answer is unequivocally no. Do not talk to the police. But we're going to give some reasons. But first, we're going to watch a quick video. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know that Eric Brandt has gone to prison for 12 years to the surprise of literally Eric Brandt and nobody else.
Well, I mean, I would briefly say I'm not surprised he went to prison. I am actually surprised about the length of the sentence, personally. Notwithstanding,
quite stiff. Unless you've been following him and you know what a vile human being he is.
No. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But I would say, based on how the judge, he said that he didn't really know much about him beforehand, but still gave him that sentence. Was actually surprising to me.
Right. This is the one who threatened the judge, right?
Yeah.
Multiple judges. Three judges.
Threatening judges, that's an aggravating factor. That's normal.
All 3 judges testified against him. And didn't one of them come to tears on the stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that might have been the staffer. I don't remember. There was.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there was one of them was a staff member of one of the judges, and it might have been her who basically broke down because she's like, I'm scared to come into work, which, like, you know, my gosh, like, look at what you've done to people with your own words, you idiot.
Yeah.
Right. And the tone that he used, he didn't sound like somebody who was making an idle threat. He was screaming that he was going to kill these people.
Honestly, I hadn't actually heard of him like until the sentencing happened, because I guess I had been living under a rock. But I was thinking, I'm like, wow, 12 years is a long time. And then I heard like the calls. It's like, oh, okay, that makes a little more sense now.
Getting ready for tonight, I was going through the comments that they left on this live stream we're about to watch. His followers believe the judge should be in jail because clearly he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
The judge?
So,
yeah.
Before we watch that video, we've got a few super chats. Let's read those and get right into that video. But and then Tina, I'll get you to give the setup, you know, to the video so that everybody understands the context of it, because I think you're the only one that's seen it so far.
Absolutely.
So let's read super chats while I go close my patio door.
Okay. Angela Tuesday for $10 says, Natalie, I wanted to ask, what does a defense attorney do if their client actually confesses to the attorney after they have entered a non-guilty plea to the court?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a really good question. All right. So if your client tells you that they did it after they pled not guilty, that has no real impact on how you prepare your case, because your client has an absolute right to be presumed innocent. A not guilty plea is standard pro forma. It's very rare to plead guilty at the outset of the case without some type of plea offer. So that really doesn't impact you a lot, right? A lot of times we enter a not guilty plea for our clients, right? Or the court will enter a not guilty plea. So that doesn't really change much of anything. The only thing to consider is the issue of suborning perjury. So you have to be careful if you actually know what happened in the case, putting someone on the stand, including the defendant, to testify, and knowing that they're going to get up there and perjure themselves, right? Mm-hmm. But the standard for defense attorneys is a lot lower than it is for other attorneys dealing with other types of witnesses, because of the defendant's absolute right to either testify or not testify. We can't influence them in whether or not they're going to testify. So we can just, like, if you know your client is going to lie, you can just be like, what happened, right? or you suspect it, you can say what happened. But the courts generally find that we're not witnesses to the event. We didn't see what happened. So just because your client told you that they did it doesn't necessarily mean that you treat them any differently in their representation. So for me, as far as my representation of them, my preparation of the case, it has no impact in how I represent them.
If I may, real quick, I think some of the misconception of the public is that when a defendant stands up and enters a not guilty plea, that is like then perjury because maybe if he did it. Like, no, one, you're not under oath. Two, as you said, it's literally routine. Like, for the most part, judges would barely accept a guilty plea to an indictment and arraignment for a felony. I don't know if you would actually do that outside of you already having a plea deal in place.
Mm-hmm. The only time I've ever seen that done is when it was a really serious case. I can't say the type here or else Schrodinger is going to get demonetized. But it wasn't my case.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so it was a really serious case, and the feds were about to pick him up. And basically, they were like, if you plead in state court, we won't come after you. So he pled to the indictment. It's very rare. It's very, very rare. And then he kind of knew that no matter what happened to him in state court, it would be nowhere near as bad as what would happen to him in federal court. So he pled guilty to the entire indictment in state court, but that is very, very exceedingly rare.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay.
Before you read the next one, I almost forgot to say this has become a thing recently I need to address for my moderators. Don't time people out or hide people or any of that unless it's something really severe. If they're saying they hate Schrodinger's cat sucks, Schrodinger's cat's stupid, absolutely let that stay there. Fight with them, argue with them, do whatever you want. Do everything except boot and time out and hide and delete comments. Now, if they're saying something racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, threatening violence, then yeah. But my feelings are incapable of being hurt. I don't have those things called feelings, so don't worry about my feelings.
Trust me, he doesn't.
Yeah, just go to battle with them and make some interaction in the comment section. It's good for the channel. So that being said, don't make me take anybody's wrench, please.
You heard him.
All right.
On with Cliff.
Cool. Gloria Scheidler upgraded membership to Tasers. Thank you. Benjamin Needon's new member. Welcome to the bunkers. Thank you. LG for $4.99 says Mike SC Natalie OPT Artie. Good evening from Portsmouth, Virginia. Watch the Professor James Duane.
Isn't that who we're watching?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Well, he's going to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And that is my hometown, Portsmouth, Virginia. Even though I'm about 5,000 miles away from there right now.
In a better
Cool.
place. Go ahead.
Corey Halsey for $5 says, thanks to everyone here for keeping me entertained with laughing and stupid. All right. AZ the Kid for $9.99 super sticker. Thank you very much. LG for $4.99 again. Sorry, the YouTube Professor James Duane video on how hearsay ROEs/FRE make it a consistently poor choice to ever make any statements.
Yeah, that's the one we're watching.
Okay.
Yep, he said it in there.
Okay, cool. Not a Brad says, please tell Schrodinger's cat he's in Hawaii and does not need a hat. Okay.
Don't tell me what to do.
That's it?
I feel like I haven't seen Not a Brat in a long time. I just want to say hi, Not a Brat, because I feel like I used to see Not a Brat on my channel and I haven't seen her in a while and I miss her. So hi.
We got a couple of new members. Matt Gunnarsson upgraded to Skeptics, and Jez Blake is a debunker now. Hi.
Yay.
Oh yeah, they just
And
came
remember,
up.
there's a members contest out there right now. If somebody hasn't already won, then go watch my last video. You may win $50 if you're a channel member.
My chat's lagging behind yours, Marvel, I guess.
Okay, then I'll leave it alone.
They just came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the video now? Eric?
Yeah, if we're up to date, then yeah.
Yeah. So I have it set right as he's about to talk about what is he talking about? Some good news, how they're dismissing cases against Eric now. So that should be interesting. And
And I think that was part of the process too, was that if he pled guilty, they would dismiss the other one. So that's not really news.
yeah.
No.
But this isn't part of the video. But somebody in his comments also said, and this is all they said. So I don't know what it means. Amicus brief.
What?
Yeah, we were talking about
yeah.
that before we went on, before any of the lawyers were on.
An amicus brief. An amicus brief is a friend of the court brief that is normally filed in like an appeal, or like mostly in the Supreme Court of either the state or the United States. I mean, like,
do they do anything?
I was trying to talk already into an amicus brief on the DeWitt trial, so we could engineer an excuse to get in there.
I mean, I guess there's no reason you couldn't file an amicus brief for sentencing, but
do they do
it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So my understanding was, and I was explaining this to a Marvel girl, and I said, y'all could fix me because I know I'm going to get at least partially wrong. An amicus brief is a friend of the court brief, and it's basically just something you submit to the court saying, hey, court, here's my opinion.
That's right.
Yeah, and normally
basically.
Oh, right, yay.
Yeah, and normally you have to actually state the reason why you're filing an amicus brief, as in instead of just like sending a letter to the judge in a sentencing, you have to state the interest you have. And the easiest one is if there is like a say a big case in the United States Supreme Court that has to do with civil rights, and the NAACP, who's not a party to the case, but they have a interest in that case, they will file a legal brief as an amicus brief saying, hey, we have an argument that we need to bring up. We're not a party, but we're an interested group, basically.
Yeah, my example was a gun case, and the NRA files an amicus brief.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep. Look, I'm not so dumb.
But for sentencing, it's really a very silly thing to do. It's not even procedurally appropriate. For sentencing, the judge can consider anything. You can just write a letter to the judge. You can just write a letter to the judge, and that's completely appropriate. You know, that would probably, you'd save yourself a lot of time, and amicus brief is very detailed. So I don't know why you want to do that.
Isn't it too late to do that anyway? He's been sentenced, right?
Yeah, he's already been sentenced.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's like sovereign citizens. They don't know the law. They're not even wrong. It's like that level of being wrong where you're not even wrong. It's like it's like, oh, I'm going to send a potato to the court. That'll fix it.
No, I think it's a typical like Dunning-Kruger thing where you're know
using the big word. Yeah.
They know what an amicus brief is, but they're too dumb to not realize that it's irrelevant to put it in at this stage.
Right. Well, we can't get bogged down too much. So I guess the video is them plotting on how to. He's coming up with a scheme where people can pay him to be able to talk to him while he's in prison. That was right
before. I mean, I can rewind it, but the beginning that I skipped over was just this guy. His name's Liberty Freak, the guy who's running Eric's channel now. Was telling everybody how they could put money on his books so they could have conversations with him while he's in jail. And they're talking about having a chat with him so that they could have it live streamed, like a video chat. Is that legal?
I know there's legislation throughout the country to not allow criminal defendants to profit off their bad acts. Well, so I mean, it depends on the jurisdiction, and it's certainly not my area. But I
would think it'd be up to
this
the
is going to work.
What I'm not understanding is he's currently incarcerated, right?
Yes.
Yes.
They took him.
So
right
how? So he's doing virtual.
No. Okay. So another frauditor has taken over his channel to give updates and stuff, and it's the free Eric Brandt channel now. And which is
so that's going to be running for at least 6 years with that name.
Yeah.
Well, I say all 12 because there's no way he's going to be on good behavior. So
probably not.
They're giving out his prisoner number, I guess it's called, and how to put money on the book so that they can do video chats, and then this guy, while he's doing the video chat, will walk him around his house so he can see his house and live stream it.
Well, I mean, they have the freedom to put money on his books if they want to.
But they're calling that a scam too, because they're saying that if the money's there for a certain length of time, the place that holds the money gets to keep it. So they're calling that a scam now. I don't know. You know, they hate everybody.
I mean, I know our prison system, like if somebody puts on like a certain amount of money on an inmate's account, I'll take some of it towards his like costs and stuff.
Good.
But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have that here. They pretty much just leave. I mean, you can put money on someone's books and they're not going to really, you know, Americans are hyper liberal. They're not going to do anything about it. They don't care, you know.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's watch the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. There he is, Liberty Freak.
Plan to do is hopefully once we're established over there in his property.
Wait, how to get back there? Sorry about that. 4 minutes.
They can see his place and all of that, and everybody can say hello. I think that's totally.
Yep, that's it.
Fort Collins case, which is Larimer County, right? He was with Bird and Dan and some other folks out there, right? And he got arrested for that. Remember that? You guys remember that?
They're not gonna answer you.
He didn't get arrested. He got ticketed for that, and then it was filed in the court, and it became a case, right? They were following it through. Well, just to bring good news, they have dismissed that case. Okay, it has been. They already filed the motion for dismissal, stating that he was already in prison for blah 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 blah. The reality of it was, they would have never won that case. There was no way on God's green earth that they would have had anything at a trial with that case. Period. End of story.
Pause for just a second. My understanding was that if he pled guilty to what he pled guilty to, then all these other cases were going to be dismissed. So they're calling this a win. It was part of the plea bargain.
Yeah, and that's literally routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they said they had no leg
part
to
of a
stand
plea
up
bargain.
about
They're
this
trying to paint as a win. And you can say, oh, if we were to try this case, we would have won. Well, you know, it's easy to say because you'll never try the case.
They said that they wouldn't win if they brought him to court for what they just put him away for. So their predictive powers, Schrodinger?
Yeah. Plus the fact that he said he would never, ever, under any circumstances, plead.
I remember that.
Yes,
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
They have no case that is a misjustice of. I mean, it's just a travesty of justice to be able to even take that case more than a day, right? They immediately, what's going on, Frankie? I want to talk to you later too.
He's so professional.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's taking a call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already got it.
Really?
God.
Yeah,
Like-
I got it. I'm live. Bye.
Oh my God.
So he would have never been, they would have never been able to have won that. He's pretty tired. Eric's pretty beaten down psychologically over this. He feels like he's been lied to, right? They lied to him. They set him up. They told him they were going to give him, you know, the most lenient sentence possible, and this is not the most lenient sentence possible. So, so Eric.
No, I don't believe that. That doesn't ring true.
Why would they say that?
They wouldn't.
This does not happen. In fact, unless it was a binding plea, the judge would have informed him while he was.
Ouch.
What the hell happened?
Another dimension. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Futuristic machine gun?
I'll take it.
Ugh.
We made it to the other side of the wormhole.
How was that?
Yeah, but I was going to say that when it comes to a plea, unless it's a binding plea, the judge will inform you during the plea colloquy, which is the advisement of your rights and making sure that you understand what you're doing, that I'm not bound by this plea. I can impose any sentence that I want to impose as long as it doesn't go beyond the maximum possible sentence. So I highly doubt that a judge told him that they were going to give him the most lenient sentence possible. I highly doubt that. That's very unlikely.
I take this with a grain of salt. In a live stream that I was in a couple of days ago that was talking about this, somebody had mentioned that part of the agreement was you're going to he was going to go part of the agreement was going to dismiss those other charges because those other charges had maximum sentences of 18 years. Jeez. And so yeah. Oh. So I think part of the agreement was that okay, then his maximum sentence would be 12 years. Or no, I'm sorry. 16 years because the harassment charges faced he could have gotten what was the maximum that he could have gotten per charge?
I thought it was 12 each. That's what I thought. I heard 12 each, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was 12 each. So that was the agreement that it would lower the maximum that he could face.
So he did get a lenient sentence, if you ask me.
Well, the biggest shock was that it was consecutive, served consecutive, not served concurrent. That's what was shocking to me.
Yeah. Because otherwise it would have just been 12 years, but 3 4-year sentences run concurrently. So effectively,
it would be 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, back when I did this as a prosecutor, you can drop the charges. You have prosecutorial discretion. You can drop a charge. And then if someone's pleading guilty to a charge, you can say, I will recommend this to the judge. And know the judge, and you have a darn good sense of whether or not the judge is going to accept that. However, I cannot guarantee what the judge will do. So I can say, I recommend that, and then the judge just has a special fit about it, and I say, sorry.
Right.
I gave the recommendation, I gave to the judge in his discretion.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say in Ohio, like we have there's actually a statute for this. You can, like, the prosecutor, the defendant can go to the judge and say, we have an agreed upon sentence, and if the judge is okay with it, then that becomes something like a binding contract. Like you are going to get that sentence. Now, the reason that's part of the statute is because the statute also says you then cannot appeal your sentence.
Okay.
But if you break any part of that, then that goes out the window.
All bets are off. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise it's just like Mike said. Like, this prosecutor's allowed to recommend or just sit mute during a sentencing, and the judge is allowed to do whatever the heck they want to within the sentencing parameters.
Right. So as defense counsel, it's really our job to explain to our clients, look, this is an agreement that we've reached with the state, but the judge is not bound by our plea agreement. The judge can impose any sentence up to the maximum. Understanding that, you still want to enter into the plea. It's very common plea policy, right? And then the judge will do the exact same thing with them. We have what's called the ABA binding plea. So if the plea does bind, that means everyone knows up front the judge is going to do what the parties agree to. But with us, it's not that you can't, by pleading guilty, you limit your ability to appeal anyway with us. But if you do an ABA binding plea, you can't modify the sentence without agreement of both parties. So it's very limiting, but you get the benefit of knowing for sure that that's what you're going to get. But some of our judges won't bind. Some of them will refuse to agree to impose the sentence for sure that you guys have agreed to. So again, all of this stuff is known up front. I really, really doubt that anyone promised him he'd get the most lenient sentence.
And if he didn't understand, I've heard this a lot too. It's his lawyer's fault.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot too, where they keep talking about appealing. Like, you pled guilty, dude.
So at least, and I, as an appellate attorney, I can tell you, the number of plea and sentencing appeals I was appointed to is actually annoying. You could appeal your sentence and your plea hearing. Basically, you could argue that your plea was not given voluntarily, knowingly, and intelligently because of X, Y, or Z, normally because the judge maybe missed something or whatever. Like, for instance, if the judge just accidentally forgot to tell you you had the right to a jury trial during your plea, that would technically be a reason to vacate the plea. You can argue that my sentence was unreasonable, at least until the Ohio legislature decided to literally put in the statute, you cannot argue that your sentence is unreasonable. You can only argue your sentence is contrary to law. So,
yeah, but
So
that would be
he can
exceedingly
appeal?
rare, correct?
normally, yeah, like there was some confusion about putting people on probation consecutive to prison terms, but other than that, like, yeah, normally judges don't just randomly go outside the sentence parameters put in the statute because, that would just be dumb.
That's kind of a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Again, let's try not to get bogged down too much.
Mhm.
It's so easy, isn't it? Because we all just want to.
We're
all have
lawyers. We want to educate everybody.
I know.
Um,
Let's educate
Why not?
while watching some more video.
okay, just say it again to your moderators, not to delete anybody.
Oh, is that happening?
No, it's just we have somebody in the chat that they might start.
Oh yeah. Unless again, racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobe, threats of violence. Other than that, just go to war with them.
Yeah.
Just battle it out with them. Get my chat some. Feed the algorithm, people.
make them sacrifices to the algorithm.
Right.
All right.
But seriously, I'm not joking. If you have a wrench, it's because I wanted you to have a wrench. Please don't make me take it from you.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
He has one case dismissed so far. There's probably going to be more because he has said that he's going to go forward on his cases. He's a little intimidated by all this ugliness from the justice system. They're able to do whatever they want.
Hold on. Really quick question.
Mm-hmm.
This was streamed after he was sentenced, right?
Yeah, it was today.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that.
Yeah. So he said he's going forward on all of his cases, except the one that he's currently doing time for.
There's no other cases. We're done, right? It's over.
That one's all tied up.
Okay. Before we start again, News Now Ninja, nobody's deleting you. I've just checked. You haven't been deleted, so if your shit's not showing up, it's because you don't know how to press enter.
Hold on. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go in and I'm going to, for the purposes of this one stream, News Now Ninja, you're going to get a wrench.
So you
Give me
can't
a second
say
to
that
make it
you were deleted anymore, bitch. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
My God.
We're not. Yeah. So nobody here is doing it. No, we're not putting him on the panel though. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
I'll leave. You did it or what? Are we done?
Carry on. I'm working on it. Carry on.
Yeah, it'll take him all day.
There's much uglier speech
Magical.
in cases that are known cases that protect free speech. And we can all start with the song Cop Killer by Ice-T and the group Body Count, right? So, as you guys know, you can say all kinds of ugly things unless you're Eric Brandt.
He's talking about Ice-T?
I am sorry, but no. Cop Killer was not directed at a particular person saying, I'm going to kill you. Speaking generally about, although we all may find it distasteful, about doing harm to general people without specifically targeting anyone is protected by the First Amendment. Saying, hey, judge's staff, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, that is a threat and that is a crime. So, no, that's the difference there.
And
but I think the underlying
cop killer wasn't even saying that. It was about a guy who was a cop killer.
Yeah.
But
News Now Ninja, you have a wrench. You are untouchable. You're a made man on Schrodinger's cat channel.
But I was gonna say we're still missing the underlying point that he pled guilty. Why is he trying to act like he's about to appeal his entire case? He pled guilty. He can only probably appeal the sentencing at best at this point.
Well,
so why are we having this discussion anyway?
Someone in the chat told me that actually does have other cases pending.
I'm sure he does somewhere.
Of course he does.
Well, there may be some that they didn't agree to dismiss, but I know some they did agree to dismiss.
Yeah. I don't know where those cases would be at or if it's true, but just FYI.
I wouldn't be surprised if he caught a case while he's in jail. Just saying.
Well, he has cases in multiple states. I don't know. Y'all can probably tell me. He was sentenced in Colorado. Could they agree to dismiss if he's got a case in another state?
No.
Those could be the ones that are still out there.
Yeah, the other states have their own sovereignty. They would never agree to that. I mean, I guess technically you could, but if you contacted the prosecutor's office, but I guarantee you they wouldn't do it.
There's so many of these people out there that I'm not sure if I'm thinking of Eric Brandt in this case, but I know there was one person out there who, once he gets out of jail, he still faces charges in another state. That might be Eric Brandt.
I think it might be somebody else, but I because that sounds familiar, but I don't think it's Eric Brandt. Anyway.
Go more?
Yeah.
Yep. And then we need to get to super chats too, because I've seen a bunch of them pile up.
Yep.
We're building his chicken coop over there, Miss Mel's. If you guys were worried about the chickens, we are about to build that chicken coop today or tomorrow.
He's getting a lot of stuff done for him while he's in prison.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everybody says he shouldn't have taken that plea, he shouldn't have done this, and he shouldn't have done that. No one here really has even come even close in even the smallest way of coming even close to even looking at his shoes, much less wearing them, right? When it comes to activism and standing up for liberties. Now,
okay.
Unfortunately, maybe because of his
how is
personality,
screaming
He doesn't
fuck
even
the
wear
cops
shoes.
how is screaming fuck the cops at children helping freedom in the United States?
This is the guy that wasn't wearing shoes on the government buildings.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
So of course
that guy.
They're not in his shoes. He doesn't wear them.
This guy, the Liberty Freak, is also his partner in crime when he stripped down at a courthouse, right?
Yes, yeah.
No,
He's always with
okay.
him.
I'm a sick man.
I made a video about that.
He carries his.
He stripped down to his underwear to go through security.
Yep. He does
And
that
then
a
got
lot.
arrested.
He does that a
no,
lot.
I didn't
It's a
see
hate
that.
crime against all society.
He does like to
Was
get
it Teddy
naked.
Whitey's?
Yes, I think no. He was
No, he went down to his pants. He had his pants still on.
I really
He was
don't
his
wanna
bathing
know,
suit at the
actually.
council meeting, but
Yeah.
he does
Yeah.
seem to really enjoy stripping down in public, which is
He's just trying to
interesting.
punish all of us.
Perfect.
He hates society that much.
He's sort of like he looks like Glenn Serio's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
And probably bathes as much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, let's get through this one so we can get to an actual person with an education who can speak.
or whatever. Who knows what it might be, but he felt that he was Batman, right? And that he could fix every injustice across the world.
He looked like the
And it's
Joker
terrible,
penguin.
right? And he
Sorry.
couldn't. And we used to get in arguments about it all the time. I love my friend, but there's only so many you can take. I would tell a man, take a case or two on something and follow him all the way through to the end. Don't try to take 56 cases in a month, right? Also it's because everything that he did, if he burped or farted, they wanted to arrest him, right?
Oh, give me a break.
They even colluded with the city, and they all sat in a restaurant while they had somebody set him up and pour hot, scalding restaurant water on his feet on a cold day, right?
No.
And you guys know that no matter how cold it was here in Colorado, Eric believed in what he did so much that he still walked the streets of Denver barefoot on the sidewalk. Okay, when it
To
was
prove what?
What does that prove? Exactly.
All right, this is getting boring. Let's go to the next video.
Yeah.
I can't even with this guy.
Let's do super chats and then go to the next video.
Okay.
This is a story of friendship, though. He does genuinely love his friend, and it's so obvious. He
He's the one that
really
spent a little
He's-
too
he's
much, in my
wasting
opinion.
it. Yeah, there you go. He should find a good friend. A better
He gets a
person.
chicken. So 12 years from now, he'll have a chicken coop.
All right. Let's go with super chats then. Gio with $49.99. Thank you. Says, don't take my wrench, SC. Love the channel, and Jeremy is still in jail.
Yeah.
Unclean Hands for $5 says, who wins the length of time sentence between Brandt and DeWitt?
News Now Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully.
DeWitt seems to have Teflon. I mean, all the
I
stuff
know,
he's done,
right?
and he's still out.
18.
I mean, it might end someday, but
He's still running his company.
Oh god.
Somehow, yeah.
I want to know what I would want to interview one of the funeral homes and be like, why do y'all keep hiring this guy?
'Cause the way he does the funerals,
Yeah.
if I had someone in the casket, right, and he's sitting there with the sirens and screaming at people,
Screaming and all that nonsense.
No.
I don't.
Me and the funeral
Disgusting.
director are going to be having a talk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what the actual fuck?
They'll be giving me my money back.
Is the funeral director the one hiring him, or is
Yes.
that the family's
No,
hiring
the
him?
funeral director.
Funeral
Oh,
home.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I don't see how he gets any business.
I don't know.
I just feel like he needs to step it up to something that's not just pretending to be a police officer and committing a bunch of traffic infractions. I just don't think that the offense carries enough weight for them to take him very seriously. But they need to,
But
because
he pulls people over.
I know.
That's dangerous.
know.
Especially
It
women.
is. I know. Serial police impersonators are dangerous, like this by default. Mm-hmm.
Well, especially
But
with his volatile attitude. So
Yeah.
he's
I
gonna end
think
up
he's
getting
going to
something
end
hurt.
up with less than 12 years, though. I think Eric's got him beat on this one.
I agree.
Yeah, Cliff.
I'm thinking 5. If I had to guess, I'd say 5.
I think that's fair.
All right. So Alan H. points out, to dispute the 2020 election, Texas filed one of his amicus briefs to get votes thrown out. Interesting.
Oh God.
LG for $49.99 says, thanks again to all of you for all the content, and Mike, create a membership option.
all right. I will think about it. Thank you.
All right. Jan Beaton for Canadian $5. No message. Thank you. LG, $1.99 super sticker. Thank you.
Aw.
Johnny B for $10 says, all the usual suspects on one screen.
Just as I planned it.
Hey, we're all free. No cuffs. You know.
The Jarhead's Goats asks Mike how many dogs he has.
Just
Are
2.
these super chats?
Oh, are the rest cats?
Most of them are, yeah.
Well, I've got the Sovereign
We gotta
Citizen
move
Patrol,
on.
which is
Just stick with
everybody.
the super
So I got a
chats.
pile of fur
All right.
babies in there. But
All
they're
right.
not really mine.
All right. AZ the Kid for $19.99 says, you're amazing. Super sticker. Thank you. Darfod Danio for £10 says, at last, finally caught a live stream so I could super chat you. All right.
Thank
Sable
you very
Sim.
much.
Yeah, Sable Sim for Canadian $6.99. No message. Thank you. King Leo 9 for $100. Thank
Ooh.
you very much.
Nice.
No message?
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
message.
okay.
Says,
Yeah, it
love
better be for $100.
I know,
Jesus.
right?
Yeah. It says, love the Schrodinger's Cat channel and all who contribute to its success. The guests on this panel are outstanding, and I appreciate them giving up their valuable time to explain the law to us less educated about the law. Thank you all.
Aw.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you,
I don't
King.
have guests.
He's
I only
awesome.
bring top shelf guests.
Sea Shields for $5 says, can we have a Men of Soft Sit swimsuit calendar?
Oh, God, no.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
FL.
Is it the beach inspiration here?
Wait, do you mean the sausage being on it, or these guys?
I think that's what you mean. Heck no.
No, not if you're talking about the sausage on it. No, no, and no.
Yeah.
well, Glenn Serio doesn't even need to take his shirt off because half his
Oh.
stomach's hanging out
Okay,
the bottom of it.
moving on
eating.
before this gets weird.
All right. FL Oig for $20. No message. Thank you. They're just popping up here now, so just a sec. Sarah Marie for £5 says, is there anyone on the panel that is or was in law enforcement? It would be nice to get this from their perspective.
Well, if you're a lawyer, you're in law enforcement. So, yeah.
True.
But no, myself, I was in the military and now I'm a defense contractor.
Okay. P Rhymes 321 for $5 says OPT Sweet Triforce shirt. I have the windbreaker from Hot Topic.
Well, thank you.
Scroll up here. P Rhymes 321 for $5 says Schrodinger, you're thinking of Josh Abrams. He has to serve another sentence after he gets out in Massachusetts.
That's
and Ohio,
right. Yep.
Oh,
in Ohio and possibly Florida.
he's got one in Ohio?
I guess so, yeah.
I think we've got a lawyer for him.
And Jay Nepper for $25 says, thanks for putting these idiots in check. And I think that's it. Yep.
All right, cool.
I just have to say, though, News Now Ninja's calling himself a freedom fighter. Just saying.
In the comment section right now.
Huh?
In the comment section right now.
Yeah.
I've got to confess that my pet name for him is News Now Homeless, because if you just look at him,
Here, should I play the video?
Yeah,
he's got a wrench.
You're totally a freedom fighter when all you're doing is baiting police and doing the most obnoxious things for views and clicks. Because don't pretend like you don't do this for the outrage money.
Yeah.
Right.
Because earlier he did ask a good question. Isn't there good? There's good and bad cops, so why can't there be good and bad auditors? There can be.
We've already
but
been
you're
over
not
this.
one of them.
Yeah.
You're not one of them.
All right, here we go.
Do you know what a hero is? A hero is a dude that gets up when the alarm clock goes off at 6, busts his ass all day for his family, pays his bills. If he's not married to his children's mom, he's paying his child support. He's putting money away for the future. He's, that's a fucking hero. Not a guy that screams at cops and films them and, films kids and then puts their face on the internet. Yeah. You're not a hero, dude.
No, not at all.
But he's a moderator.
All right.
Yes, but you are a moderator.
Next video.
Okay, here we go.
We're actually going to get to some highbrow commentary.
Here we go.
Of rights, and thank God for the Fifth Amendment. I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud of the Fifth Amendment, and I'm proud to admit on camera and on the internet that I will never talk to any police officer under any circumstances, with all due respect, sir. I'm doing something really extraordinary here today, something you'll almost never see another law professor do as long as you live. I'm really putting myself on the spot here. This was my idea. By my invitation, I have given up half of my time, approximately. I'm giving equal time and the last word to an expert who really knows something about what I'll be talking about. So I'm opening myself up to the possibility that he will contradict me. I was a criminal defense attorney when I was in private practice. So I want to make sure, in fairness to you, if I'm misleading you or giving you a slanted or one-sided presentation, you'll be able to get the last word from somebody else. I'm sure he'll have a lot to teach all of us, including myself. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution provides, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. And this unfortunate amendment has gotten a bad rap in recent times, much of it tragically and unnecessarily through, as you may have heard, the headlines. Let me read you something that was taken out of the newspaper this morning, and I want you to listen to it closely. And I'm giving you a heads up. I'm warning you in advance, which is not fair to you. Not fair to me, but I'm giving you a warning that I'll be quizzing you on this in just a few minutes. This will test your aptitude for legal study and legal practice. Listen closely, it won't take long. Last night, agents of the Norfolk Police Department found 3 victims of an apparent murder dead in an apartment in the East Ocean View area. The apparent victims of a gangland-style slaying, and possibly the victims of gang-related violence. The police are investigating this as a possible murder and suicide, but right now suspect that the 3 were all killed by the same individual. No suspects have yet been identified in the slaying, but veteran police detective George Brook has confirmed that police are following up on evidence pointing to the possible involvement of an off-duty naval officer as the perpetrator. The bodies, which were found by the apartment manager at about 8 o'clock in the morning, appear to have been slain sometime earlier in the same evening, probably sometime between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. That's it. Those are all the facts I'll ask you to remember, and it won't be for very long either. Let's see how well you do. I'll be quizzing you in just a few minutes. Now, here's the easiest question you'll ever get from a client in all the days of your life. Question, hey, the police are here. They want to talk to me. What should I do? Well, I can give you my answer to that question in case you haven't already guessed it, but why don't we go to a real expert? Justice Robert Jackson A prosecutor's prosecutor. Like me, he began his private practice in Buffalo, New York, years before I did. And after that, he served as general counsel for the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the U.S. Department of Treasury, the Security and Exchange Commission, Assistant U.S. Attorney General for the Tax Division, later the Solicitor General and the Attorney General of the United States, and then the Chief U.S. Prosecutor for the Nuremberg trials. That's an impressive resume. Years later, when he was a justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Jackson stated, quote, "Any lawyer worth his salt," today we would say his or her, "will tell the suspect, his client, in no uncertain terms to make no statement to the police under any circumstances." There's the title of my talk. I'm here to explain to you the surprising and somewhat counterintuitive and admittedly unlikely reasons why Justice Jackson was right. I'm reminded of this because I'm amazed, we're all amazed, by the frequency with which we see newspaper articles coming out all the time from people who really ought to know better, who say, well, I'll talk to the police. I mean, after all, I'm a senator. I'm O.J. Simpson. I'm an experienced, highly polished individual. I've got a lot of experience with public relations, even criminal defense attorneys. There was a local news story here in the Virginia Pilot just a couple of months ago about an experienced criminal defense lawyer who ended up getting convicted of criminal assault because he talked to the police. He was accused of having assaulted another attorney in the hallway. There were no other witnesses to this. A woman said that he grabbed her by the throat during an argument over a case. He denied it. At trial, it was his word against hers. He said, "I did not even touch her." But unfortunately for him, when the police had approached him earlier and said, "Would you be willing to answer some questions?" he said, "Sure, why not? I'm an attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm savvy. I'm sophisticated. I've got oratorical prowess. I'm accustomed to dealing with the police. By all means." And then there was a conversation that was not recorded. When the case went to trial, it was no longer his word against hers, because when he testified at trial, "I never touched her," the officer took her to the stand and testified, "Well, when I met with him, he said he did put his hand on her throat, but just as a joke." Then he had to take the stand again and say, "That's not true. I never said that. I never admitted to you that I..." Now it's his word against two people. Who's telling the truth? We'll never know for sure. But he was found guilty.
Paul,
Yep.
I just want to get initial reactions from the lawyers.
My soul just kind of died right there.
Yeah.
Like, do y'all have any instances, any experience with this sort of thing happening?
Well, I can tell you this, that I have dealt with clients on multiple occasions, meaning I've dealt with them for one case and then dealt with them for another. And in the first case, it'll be like, "Oh, just, next time, don't talk to the police. If you talk to the police this time and it really hurt our case, don't talk to the police," right? They're like, "Sure, got it." Then they come back with a new case and they've talked to the police, and this case is even worse. They probably incriminate themselves even more. And it's like, "Why did you do that? I told you not to." "Well, I thought that I could talk my way out of it. I thought that if I talked to him, he would think that I was not guilty because I'm not acting guilty because I'm talking to you instead of being shady," right? And sure, I signed the waiver and I waived my right to have an attorney present, and I didn't call you or tell you anything. But, I just thought that would mean that they wouldn't look at me, because what guilty person would talk to the police and they will genuinely think that nothing that they said was wrong? And it's like, they could have given the most self-serving statement to make themselves look as good as possible. But you know what else they did? They put themselves at the scene of the crime. Or they waived the issue of identity, right? Where it's like, you said, "Oh, no, I didn't do it. This other guy did it. I saw him do it. But but you're saying you were there." And now you've taken away, there's limited defenses that the defendant has. It's identity. It wasn't me. Alibi. I was elsewhere. Mistake, justification, legal justification, all types of other things, right? And you limit yourself when you put yourself at the scene of the crime and concede that you were the person that they're talking about, even if you say you didn't do it. And it gives the prosecutor so many more things to put into their arsenal that they didn't have before. Never talk to the police. He's completely right. I couldn't agree more. Yes, it has been the bane of my existence for my nearly 11 years of practice. People talking to the cops.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I mean, as an appellate attorney, it was really fun to read that in transcripts, let me tell you.
But what it seems to me like, because from everything I know about the police, when they're interrogating you, they ask you a question, and then they ask you the same question slightly differently, and you give a slightly different answer, and then it's like, okay, now you lied to me. So now that we've established that you're a liar, and everything that you do say, like Natalie was saying, okay, I was there, but okay, you're taking bullets out of your attorney's chamber.
Yep.
Every time you say something, you're putting a roadblock of one path. Say there's 15 paths to your defense. Everything that you say to the cops, you're putting a roadblock in one of those paths.
Yeah.
So
Let's. We just had it just real quick. We had a suppression hearing in my court where they played the interview of the defendant with the detective, and it's just like what Natalie said. It's like at first he denies X, Y, and Z, and then he's like, "Oh, but I was there, but I didn't do this," and then suddenly we get to. By the end of it, we've literally got him shooting at the victim, even though the victim ended up being shot and killed. Actually, we've got him confessing to basically shooting towards the guy and hiding the gun.
Wow!
Like we end there and start from, well, I wasn't really involved,
and all he had to do was shut up.
All he had to do was not agree to be there.
Say lawyer. I want a lawyer, and that ends it right there. But
yes, it does.
I like this hypothetical that he comes up with because he actually explains it right up front. To start with, you've got a he said, she said, and the state's got the burden of proof. So they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt two conflicting testimonies. You talk to the police officer might be telling the truth, but the police officer might be lying. But now you have he said, and she said, and the police officer said.
And the police officer said, yeah.
That's a whole different.
The court's always going to be skewed slightly towards the police. Right or wrong, they're going to. Yeah.
They're given immediate credibility on the stand. It's just that's the way it is.
Just FYI, this attorney is from Regent University, so he's hometown. Like, I used to drive right past where he works every day on the way to work.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And that's I don't know if you know about Regent University. It is a religious university run by Pat Robertson, but they have a very, very well-respected law program there.
Nice.
All right, let's carry on.
Marvel girl.
Did she fall asleep?
Oh, sorry. I was muted. I'm sorry. I thought I was talking to you.
Now, here's part of the problem. The heart of the problem, as Justice Breyer on the U.S. Supreme Court explained in 1998, is, quote, the complexity of modern federal criminal law codified in several thousand sections of the United States Code and the virtually infinite variety of factual circumstances that might trigger an investigation into a possible violation of the law make it difficult for anyone to know in advance just when a particular set of statements might later appear to a prosecutor to be relevant to some investigation. One expert on criminal law recently noted that estimates of the current size of the body of federal criminal law vary, although it has been reported that the Congressional Research Service can no longer even count the current number of federal crimes. That's right, even the federal government has lost count. These laws are scattered over all 50 pages of the U.S. Code, encompassing roughly 27,000 pages. Worse yet, these statutes often incorporate by reference to the provisions of administrative regulations. Estimates of how many such regulations exist are even less well settled, although the ABA thinks there may be nearly 10,000. Here's one of those 10,000 federal criminal statutes on the book that you probably never heard about. It's called the Lacey Act. 16 U.S.C. Section 3370 says it's a federal offense for any person to import, export, transport, sell, receive, acquire, or purchase any fish or wildlife or plant taken, possessed, transported, or sold in the violation of any law, treaty, or regulation of the United States or any Indian tribal law or any state or any foreign law. People have been convicted in federal court for violating this statute because they brought back a bony fish from Honduras, not knowing that Honduran law, not American, but Honduran law, forbade the possession of the bony fish. People have been convicted under this law because they were found in possession of what's called a short lobster, a lobster that's under a certain size. Some states forbid you from possessing a lobster if he's under a certain length. It doesn't matter if he's dead or alive. It doesn't matter if you killed it or if he died of natural causes. It doesn't even matter if you acted in self-defense. Did you know that? Did you know it can be a federal offense to be in possession of a lobster? Admit it. Raise your hand if you did not know that. There's the problem. And that's only one of 10,000 different ways. You know, the government gets pretty upset when people like me instructs the client, people like me and Justice Jackson, don't talk to the police, don't answer any questions. But you know, they can't have it both ways. You people, you've got 10,000 different ways of convicting us. Good for you, but you know, With the bitter comes to the sweet, with the good comes to the bad. That's 10,000 different ways my client might unknowingly implicate himself in some sort of a criminal transaction. One of the reasons I decided to give this talk, I recently received a phone call from a former student of mine, a Regional Law School graduate, who may be watching this online. We're putting it on the internet. And he told me, hey, I've been approached by the Internal Revenue Service. They want to ask me a couple of questions. They ask if I'd be willing to. But they say that I'm not a suspect. And I know in my heart I don't think I've done anything wrong in violation of the Internal Revenue Service provisions. Lord have mercy. There's no man on earth, there's no woman in this country who can honestly say with complete confidence, I know I have never violated any provision of the Internal Revenue Code. He said, but
Exactly.
they say I'm not a suspect and I know I've done nothing wrong. It's okay if I talk to him? I said, no, you tell them you will not talk to them without immunity. I explained to him why that was true, and he never heard from them again. Okay, why you should never talk to the police. Let me just spell it out for you. Let me make it plain to all of you. These are the top 10 reasons. I shouldn't really lie to you. I don't really have 10. I don't have time for 10, but I've got time for 8, and that'll be close enough. Number 1, and this really ought to be good enough. Contrary to what you laymen instinctively and naturally suppose, it cannot help.
For the lawyers, how many of you would have loved to have this guy as one of your professors?
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't even really interested in law. The first time I saw this, I wasn't on a YouTube channel or anything. I watched this all the way through and was just like riveted. Like the guy's a great speaker.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, carry on.
There is no way it can help you. Plenty of folks think that it can, and they're always wrong. You cannot talk your way out of getting arrested. Officer Brook, you've interviewed thousands of criminal suspects. Have you ever, how many times in your experience, have you approached someone, asked if you could ask him some questions because prior to the interview you had some evidence pointing to his possible guilt? And because of the extraordinary persuasiveness and eloquence with which he articulated his innocence, you said, oh, sorry, never mind. Bad call, my bad, I won't. And he talked you out of arresting him. You know the answer to that. Never. Never. It never happens. I've often asked other criminal defense attorneys, in all of your experience, have you ever once had a case where you looked back in hindsight and said, thank God my client talked to the police? They laugh at me. They laugh at me. They say, you've got to be kidding me. You cannot help it. You can't talk your way out of getting arrested. And contrary to what you might suppose if you never studied the rules of evidence, what you tell the police, even if it's exculpatory, cannot be used to help you at trial. Because it's what we call hearsay. Under the rules of evidence, specifically Rule 801D2A, if you want to look it up, everything you tell the police, as the saying goes, can and will be used against you, but it cannot be used for you. From time to time, I've known attorneys who tried to call to the stand a police officer and say, officer, would you tell the jury what my client told you because what my client told him is actually good for my case? If you tried that at trial, the prosecutor will object to that as hearsay, and the judge will agree. The police will not be allowed, at your request, to tell the jury what your client told him, no matter how good it may be for your case. It cannot help.
Yep.
And that ought to be good enough reason. That ought to be reason enough to keep your mouth shut. But if you're not persuaded, let me go talk about a couple of others.
Yeah.
Number 2, obviously one of the most obvious. If your client is guilty, as many of them
Pause real quick.
but even if...
Before we get to number 2, let's double down on number 1. Never, ever, ever, ever can you help yourself by talking to the police.
Mm-mm.
Never.
Nope. Never.
There's no help.
For every First Amendment auditor, listen to the sound of our voice. You never, ever, ever, no matter how many clicks and views you might get, it never helps you to talk to the police, especially when you say, I don't answer questions, and then you answer 50 questions.
Yeah.
Please stop it.
Looking at you, Patty.
Yeah, looking at you, PayPal Patty.
Yeah.
And stop having your mom copyright strike my videos, PayPal Patty. FYI, his mom
That's no joke.
struck my video.
How do you know it's his mom?
Because you can see her name.
Because it says who struck it, and it didn't say Patrick Roth. It said Lucretia Roth.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Wow.
His wife's name is
Stupid.
Selena.
Selena. So it wasn't that. Plus, they also, the same person, Lucretia Roth, also struck
Vilified.
Masshole Reports video.
And vilified too,
He's got
right?
his mom copyright striking videos for him.
Oh, Lord.
Either that or he's using her name, but didn't she strike vilified as well?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, we're getting off track. But you can't win by talking to police. All right, on to number 2.
Okay.
If he's not, even if he's innocent, He may well admit his guilt with no benefit in return. Now, of course, many of you are thinking to yourself, well, what's so wrong about that? I mean, shouldn't guilty people be confessing? Confession's good for the soul. It's good for law enforcement. It's good for the prisons. Yes, sure, all those things are true. And like the rest of you, if I or anyone close to me is ever the victim of some sort of a serious crime, I hope they get the right guy. I hope they convict him. I hope they put him away. We all feel that way. Hey, but what's the rush, friends? You don't got to admit your guilt the first time they come by to meet with you. In federal court, 86% of all defendants plead guilty at some point before trial. If your client is guilty and really ought to punish and really ought to have go through some sort of a cleansing act of contrition and fess up and admit his guilt, there'll be plenty of time to do that. They almost always do. No need to rush, no need to tell the police something. Wait and see if perhaps your client can work out some sort of an arrangement where maybe he'll make some sort of compensation to the alleged victim, or maybe he'll be able to get some sort of a discount in his sentence. And he'll be treated fairly then, like everybody else who had the benefit of a good lawyer who said, please do not talk to the police. And don't forget, by the way, even if your client only admits to things that the police already knew, you might think, well, what harm can it do? He says he wants to talk to the police. All he wants to do is admit that he was there, but the cops know that he was there. All right, go ahead and tell him. Well, how can it hurt? It might hurt if the police officer becomes transferred to Minnesota, or deceased, or injured, or comatose, or cannot be located by the time of trial. The case will be dismissed if there's no confession. But if your client admits to things, that confession is freely admissible against him and can be a basis for getting him convicted all by himself. Senator Larry Craig.
Excuse me, I am so sorry to interrupt, dude. But can I just address one thing in the chat?
Sure, that's what you're here for.
Thank you. It's not... he just brought up the post office. Can we please, once and for all, with a frauder actually here, explain that the post office does not work for us? They are not paid for by tax money.
They are a quasi-government establishment that is not... The federal government does not pay for the post office. The post office pays for the post office. There's some nuances to that, but no, it's not federal government.
Sorry, dude. You're wrong. They don't work for you.
Who is that, Ninja?
Yeah.
Even if it was, so say that it was, they keep getting arrested at the post office, not because it's federal or anything else. It's because they keep trespassing at the post office when they keep asking.
He's saying this. Yes, the post office is important, even though they are not police, because there are government employees.
So what?
And we need proper service from those who take our tax dollars.
Let's stipulate.
You don't even own your house, do you? You don't pay property tax. You don't pay anybody's
Do you even
salary.
get mail?
Hey, we'd all like to get some service from the post office. That's just not going to happen, okay?
Yeah.
I have a question. So, in the year of our Lord 2021, who cares about the post office? In the
Exactly.
day and Amazon, and like you can just like have things shipped automatically. Like the post office is the hill that you want to die on. Who gives a crap about the post? What are you doing? It's like complaining that the guys that run the Pony Express are your employees and they're not listening to you.
Right?
Dinosaur man. No one cares. Get over it.
Sorry.
There's 7 of us. There's 7 of us here. I'll let it be a vote. There's an odd number, so it can't be. There can't be a tie. Okay, so we already got 1 no. She already knows what I'm going to ask. Do we want to invite him on?
No.
Yes.
What was the question?
Do we want to invite News Now Ninja on?
He thinks
There would not be a point. No.
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
I vote no.
No.
Right. It's unanimous.
No,
I
already
said
said yes. Already said yes.
That's because I thrive off of
Yeah.
baby.
I'm a contrarian.
So News Now
I can see
Ninja,
that.
email me. Go to my about. It's Schrodinger's.cat504@gmail.com. Email me and I'll have you on. We can have a nice talk about it. Feel free to. What do you mean? No, I won't.
You need me to have him on.
All right, now Ninja, contact me. artrexislives@gmail.com.
Schrodinger's email is on his about page. You just have to promise you're not a robot and you can get
Send me
it.
an email. We'll figure it out. We'll have a nice talk. But feel free to enjoy your wrench for the remainder of the night in the chat.
And now everybody can ignore him and listen to the panel. We're here for Schrodinger, Artie, Natalie, OPT lawyer, and Mike.
So can I just jump back to what we were watching, though?
Please.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, please.
So what he said about, like, shouldn't people just confess when they're wrong? No, they should not just confess when they're wrong. Absolutely not. No.
No. Never. Never.
You guys are talking about First Amendment auditors. It's not just First Amendment auditors that have diarrhea of the mouth. It's every single person that comes into contact with the police. They just feel like, I have nothing to hide. I'm a really, really good person.
Right.
And that's how wrong convictions happen. Shut your mouth. Be quiet.
See,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I didn't understand what they were telling me growing up, but I would have thought if the cops wanted to talk to me, I should talk to them. This game is a surprise
when you're
to
a
me.
child.
In a perfect world, that sounds really great.
Right.
I mean, really, guys, I was surprised when Schrodinger said this to me. I thought good people should talk to the cops. I didn't realize.
Everybody does.
Right.
And I at least
I mean, I've done
my
nothing
impression
wrong.
my impression for some of it is if you're there, a lot of these defendants feel like if they're willing to talk to the cops, and the cops aren't going to suspect them, because why would you talk to the police if you didn't do if you did something? Except the police know that they get people to confess to stuff they've done all the time.
Right.
So,
and I am pro cop, so don't get that
that's what I'm
mixed
saying.
up
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
We're all pro cop here.
Yes.
You
Now,
know,
my
with,
question, though, is
with the exception of Clifford Reynolds, who I
hates
know
cops.
has some background,
we don't talk about that, though.
We don't talk about that.
Right.
Do we have super chats that we need to get to, by the way?
Can I just clarify one point, though? You mean if they're coming to question you, don't talk to them, but you should definitely talk to cops for other reasons, right? Like,
If you saw a crime and
if you see something, say something, right?
and that's even a gray area, I would think.
If you're a potential
if you're
defendant,
telling the cops
don't do
he
it.
went that way.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, this is the number one. A lot of people think, oh, I won't talk to the police if I'm in an interrogation room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they brought me down to the station, I'm in an interrogation room, then I'll ask for a lawyer. No, by then it's too late, okay?
Yep.
So
If you're in that room.
if you see an old lady get her purse snatched, call 911. Don't be a jerk, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you see someone getting attacked, help them. Do not be a jerk. Call for the authorities. But no, do not talk to the police. And traffic stops, give your ID.
Right.
If your license and registration and proof of insurance, but when he's asking where you're going and where you're coming from, just say, no, I just prefer for you to issue me my citation. Thank you.
So even that.
Even that, because those have turned into DUIs. They've turned into car searches.
Okay.
Yep.
Turned into all types of things. We're like, maybe they sprinkle a little bit of crack in your car. You never know.
You're leaving.
I live in the DCPG area. That has actually and still currently is happening. Those things are. Shut up. I'm being serious.
Like, and even just like asking, like, where did you come from? And you give like, oh, I came from XYZ. Like, oh, you mean that house is directly next to a drug house? Okay, hey, great. Now we might have reasonable suspicion to search your car.
So you don't want to say I just came from dinner or anything like that. You really.
So
how do you put it without so you're not being rude?
You just
They're not talking to you to have a conversation. That's not why.
Right. Yeah, it's a feeling out process.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to see how they can take a traffic stop. Don't be rude. You can just. This is what I always say. I've been pulled over several times. It just happens. And license, registration, proof of insurance. How's it going today? I'm well. How are you? Where are you coming from? I prefer not to answer those questions. Thank you. Well, why not? Don't you want to answer any questions? Because I have a right to remain silent. Thank you. Would you mind issuing me my citation? Yeah. Have a nice day. Smile, be friendly, but be direct and say, I'm not to answer any questions.
Right.
But don't give over your ID. That's really all it boils down to.
Yeah.
Right. But do you know how to not do it? Is when they say, where you coming from? You just say, I don't answer questions.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
go fuck yourself, pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how not to do it.
Exactly.
I always thought that, like, say there's two cops there, and one went to write the ticket, and the other's talking to you. That's not just killing time?
No.
Oh no, he's feeding you out.
Oh shit.
No, he's trying to get in your car.
Oh,
He's just trying to find a way to get in your car because they have a lot to do.
I am so naive. I am so naive.
No,
I literally saw recent body camera footage that ended out in the shooting where one cop was writing the ticket in the car, and the other cop was having like a 10-minute conversation. And from there, he ended up having enough probable cause to want to get him out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Based on his conversation, and honestly, it was the most casual sounding conversation you ever heard. But the cop got enough information out of the guy that he's like, okay, based on how you're acting, based on your responses, I think, there's some probable cause for
Schroeder, take his wrench.
You got to take his wrench.
Take his wrench. Take his wrench right now. He's just timing out.
He's timing out everybody. Take Ninja's wrench, please.
Really?
Kick him.
This fucking guy.
He's taking everybody out.
Aww.
Shit. You couldn't even handle having a wrench.
And you wonder why no one wants to take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't you just be here and have fun? Like, just troll and be dumb. But like, you don't need to.
I know.
Yeah. I would literally not have him on your channels now. Like, I'd never talk to the dude straight up.
No, but there is somebody else in there. Get rid of Tulip. He or she is asking us to kick Natalie, and they'd give $500. They're up to now. Natalie, I love you, but damn, I need a new couch.
$500 if you kick me?
Yeah. Well, they start at $250, so hey.
Do I get to kick back?
His wrench is gone. Calm down. Calm down. Everybody, crisis averted. His wrench is gone.
Okay.
Too late. Silently then.
You bitch. You couldn't even handle a wrench. Like a normal person.
That just says everything about his personality there.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
Now,
why did I like to try to indulge him a little bit because it's sort of fun. I had Lucky Charm, the lawnmower, the free lawnmower guy on my channel in comments, and we actually had fun for a while.
I let him have a wrench so that he couldn't get abused. And what did he do with it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Turns around.
So,
yeah, that's sociopathic, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most people would see that and be like, okay, I'm going to play it cool because you made it so that I could stay here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Artie give a lot of people like wrenches on his channel, and they were, as much as they were dumb, they actually didn't do shit like that.
Yeah.
So the next time he tries to play, we're ethical, and this shit, okay. So guess what? If you let him in your house, he's going to shit on your carpet.
Mm.
That's who that guy is.
Yep.
And just another thing, LG offered to give us $500 to keep Natalie.
Oh, sweet.
Aww.
Schrodinger, the only thing I'd check is to make sure that he didn't hide people from the channel.
I'm checking it now.
Okay.
Cool. I think Eva Roberts keeps getting her comments deleted, and isn't she like a usual person that you have on your channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a complete sweetheart.
Yeah,
I copy and paste.
Good. Oh, is someone saying
is
my mic is?
Yeah, you're kind of echoing, hon.
Is that what's going on? Okay.
Yeah.
How about now?
Much better.
Am I? Okay, I didn't have my mic plugged in. That's probably what it was.
Okay.
All right. I didn't realize it wasn't plugged in either.
Okay then. You pulled a creaky me. Yeah, we all do it. We all do it basically. All right. So yeah, everything's back to normal. Okay. Cool. Did you want me to go back to the video, or are you guys gonna keep talking about
Yeah. Go to the video.
All right.
I can explain all of this to you. The Innocence Project of the United States has confirmed that in more than 25% of all the cases where an innocent man was convicted and then later released from prison after he was exonerated by DNA evidence, in more than a quarter of those cases, these innocent people we know to be innocent, made incriminating statements, delivered outright confessions, or pled guilty. How do they do that? He'll tell us all about it, I trust. Here's a couple of famous examples. You can just ask them. You don't have to take my word for it. There on the left was Eddie Joe Lloyd. He was convicted in 1984 of the murder of a 16-year-old girl in Detroit after he wrote to police with suggestions on how to solve various recent crimes. During several interviews, police fed details of the crime to Mr. Lloyd, who was mentally ill, and they lied to him and convinced this mentally ill man that by confessing, he might help them smoke out the real killer. He later signed a confession, gave a tape-recorded statement. The jury delivered it less than 1 hour before convicting him on the basis of this confession. There was no other substantial evidence against him.
Up.
The judge said, I'd hang you if I could, but the death penalty was not available in Michigan at the time. But after almost 2 decades in prison, he was released after DNA evidence proved that this man was innocent and had falsely confessed to a crime that he did not commit. On the right is Earl Washington, who was released from prison just a few years ago here in Virginia after spending 18 years behind bars after being committed of a rape and a murder that we now know he did not commit after having been exonerated by DNA evidence. But this man, Mr. Washington, who was in fact confirmed to be mentally retarded, was able to confess to several crimes at the request of the police, some of which we know he could not have committed. That's the problem. Some of you are thinking to yourself, well, none of this concerns me because I'm not guilty of anything and I never will be and I will never represent people who do. Okay. Let's talk to you people.
So you don't want to be a lawyer then?
Those of you who have never committed a crime and never will, and none of your clients will.
Definitely.
And you wouldn't go out with a girl.
Let's pause for
Fine.
1 second.
You.
I just want to say one last word.
It's a great pause screen.
What's that?
Sorry. It's just a great pause screen.
Yeah, I might need to cut and paste that. But just one last thing, because it's still just aggravating the fuck out of me. I extended hospitality to this dude on a topic that you would think that he would agree with and would want his followers to be like, watch this show. Like, if anything, this is skewed way more towards his side of the argument than ours.
Absolutely. But
he comes in and shits on it?
He wasn't even paying attention, though, hon. The whole time he was talking about himself in the chat, trying to get everybody's attention on him and away from you guys. That's why I said, leave him alone. Don't pay attention. We're here for Schrodinger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, he's not here. Well, actually, the only thing I did was take his wrench away. I guess I should go in and see if he's still there so I can ban him. Well, no, I don't need to. Moderators can take care of it.
Yeah.
So play whack-a-mole, moderators. I take back what I said. Do not time out or ban or block anybody who's not saying anything racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, or threatening, except News Now Ninja.
If they're not named News Now Ninja.
Fuck with him all you want. He's got a green light. All right, we can continue.
And Tulip. We gotta get rid of Tulip.
Who's that? Who's
who's
the
this
one who
Tulip guy?
offered $250 and then $500 to kick Natalie?
Yeah, he's already he's taken care of.
Good.
Well, no, Harley hit him, but you wanna ban him.
No, let him play whack-a-mole.
Okay, all right.
Moderators love that shit.
Have fun, guys.
Keep them on their toes.
Shall I keep going? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
You better not talk to the police either, okay? Because number 3, we'll put the guilty behind us. Forget about them. Let's talk about innocent people. Number 3, even if your client is innocent and he denies his guilt and almost entirely tells the truth, odds are good he will easily get carried away and tell some little lie or make some little mistake that will hang him. This is human nature. He gets in there, it's a stressful situation. Imagine a perfectly innocent client. The police say he's been guilty of a murder. He's totally innocent as any one of us. So he goes in there and he meets with the police. He says, I don't know what you're talking about. I was nowhere near there. I didn't kill him. I've never killed anybody. I don't have a gun. I've never had a gun. I've never touched a gun in my life. I was nowhere near Virginia Beach that night. That last line was a lie. He went over the top. He was getting carried away. He got into this groove. He started saying all kinds of things, almost all of them true, that he knew would tend to exculpate himself. Then he got carried away and just said one thing that wasn't true, and unfortunately for him, they can prove that it wasn't true. He may be convicted on that basis alone. But let's say, well, that's not a problem. I'll tell my client only to tell the truth. I've met with him. I know he won't lie to the police. He won't make any mistakes. Okay, that's still no guarantee you won't be getting into trouble. Because even if your client is innocent and only tells the truth and doesn't say anything that is false. Now, already, mind you, we're pretty well nigh into fantasy land. The odds of
True.
this being anybody being able to pull this off are really quite slim, no matter how innocent they may be. But just the same, let's pretend. Let's assume he gives the police nothing but the truth, and he is totally innocent. He will always give the police some information that can be used to help convict him. Always. For example, suppose you tell this to the police. Here's what your client tells to the police in his denial of guilt. I don't know what you were talking about. I didn't kill Jones. I don't know who did. I wasn't anywhere near that place. I don't have a gun. I've never owned a gun in my life. I don't even know how to use a gun. Yeah, sure, I never liked the guy, but who did? I wouldn't kill him. I've never hurt anybody in my life, and I would never do such a thing. Let's suppose every word of that is true. 100% of it is true. What will the jury hear at trial?
I didn't like the guy.
Yep. Was there anything about this, your interrogation, your interview with the suspect that made you concerned that he might be the right one? Yes, there was. He confessed to me that he never liked the guy. And then the prosecutor will put that up in big letters, and he'll say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's pretty clear that we've got the right guy here. We've proven that he was in Virginia Beach that night. That's opportunity. And remember, Officer Brooke admitted that after extended questioning, he was finally able to get the defendant to admit that he never liked the guy. There's your motive. Motive plus opportunity. Wham, bam.
So good.
Please.
Yeah.
Is he oversimplifying it, or is that real?
No.
It's absolutely.
Right.
Oh my god.
This is right.
Do y'all see now? Do y'all see now why I wanted to do this show?
I know it. I really
Because it's super easy to say, all my lawyer friends and me agree.
Wow.
Never ever talk to cops. But to drill down on it like this really lets you know why. It's easy to know the what of something, but you know a whole lot more about it when you know the why.
That's right.
That's why I wanted to do this show tonight.
I'll insert from the civil end. Don't talk to an insurance company either. Same reason.
That is true. Having done workers' compensation, that is so true.
Okay. I'm having a real hard time with this. Sorry, guys.
But that's why it's great that you're here, Marvel Girl, because you bring the perspective that a lot of people have, you know, not people from my community. We were not raised to talk to the police. We were raised to not talk to the police. But I know many people are raised like the police are your friends. They're here to help you. If you have nothing to hide, then talk to the police. You're a good person. You'll be fine. That is just not the truth. Not that they're like here to necessarily hurt you, but they have a confirmation bias. If they're looking into you anyway, they already think you did it. And by talking to them, you'll only help. Whatever you say, there will be a little nugget in there for them to use to confirm that you're somehow involved or you've done something wrong. It's better just not to talk to them.
Yeah. And if I'm gonna plug one of Natalie's videos here real quick. Go watch her review of My Cousin Vinny, because that movie literally points out why you should not talk to the police.
I've lived with my cousin. Vinny. This is my family. You're in that movie.
Like, because you have one of the main characters. You know, he's confessing to stealing a can of tuna, and the sheriff's like, "So when did you shoot the clerk?" And the guy's like, "I shot the clerk." Like in shock. Like, what are you talking about? But he literally says, "I shot the clerk twice."
Yeah. That and whoever I've never researched, like, you know, who came up with the movie or whatever, who the producer was, the writer, but whoever was involved had to have been an attorney, because that's exactly what that whole scene illustrates. He is factually innocent. He hasn't done anything, and yet he's conceded identity. He's conceded presence. He's conceded, you know, he conceded he shot the clerk, even though he was only speaking, you know, out of surprise. Like, I shot the clerk. You're not saying that he really did shoot the clerk. It can only, even for the most innocent of people, it can really only hurt you. Please let your lawyer do the talking for you. Ask for an attorney. You can't work your way out of it.
Do you think cops do it purposely, or do they honestly believe that you're guilty when they do it?
Not all the time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends. Yeah, it depends.
Do we have super chats or?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a break.
Yeah, I gotta go put.
All right. So Julia Augenstein, new member. Welcome to Debunkers. Sarah Marie for £10 says, I meant as a cop. It would be interesting to have the conversation of why you shouldn't talk to cops versus what an officer does when he has probable cause to arrest someone and goes through that process. Okay. FL Inspector General for $20 says, if you really want to fight corruption and do real audits, then get a job in the Inspector General field. What these auditors do is a joke. JSUF says... Oh, sorry, that's not a super chat. Tim Lupari for $5 says, why do soft sets always get their windows broken? Because they shouldn't be licking them. Darfa Danio for £5 says, I'm not interested in any of the panel's political leanings, but do they think Giuliani is going to plead the fifth?
For his sake, I hope so. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
same.
care at all, but like for his sake, if he just should. And God, I hope
shut
he
the
knows
fuck
this.
up and get a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
standard advice.
Exactly.
I do think he's a competent attorney, so I think he will.
Oh my god.
Well, just based on his years and years of experience as an attorney, he should be a good enough attorney to know to get a good attorney.
Yeah. The little wrinkle with that is, although I concur with everyone here on the panel, he has not remained silent, and all of his statements so far, the statements he's given so far to the media and the public, because they're not police prompted interrogations, are fair game for any eventual trial, although I really doubt that he'd actually go to trial. But anything he says now, all these interviews he's giving, they'll be used against him.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's watching tonight. Rudy, if you're in the chat, hit me up under your ring.
Yeah. I think Natalie's right. I don't think it's going to matter at this point. I think it's just giving enough information away.
Yeah. Corey Halsey for $5 says, "Can I borrow $5?" Okay.
That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
Eva Roberts for $20 says, "As soon as you say I want a lawyer, that interview is over. If you're going to say anything, that should be the only thing."
Yeah.
Randy
And make sure you say the words, "I want a lawyer," not "I think I need to speak to a lawyer," because then they don't have to stop. You have to unequivocally say, "I want to speak to a lawyer," or I will not answer questions until I speak to a lawyer. Be, forceful, not forceful, but be direct.
Don't into the microphone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say things like, "Well, maybe I should talk to a lawyer," or don't ask the officer, like, "Do you think I should get a lawyer?" Like, just say,
point. Yes.
All right. Randy Nicole for $5 says, "What part of the problem do you see all these non-lawyers on YouTube giving advice to First Amendment auditors and how to respond to law enforcement?" Yeah. Mo Army 67 for $10, no message, thank you. LG for $4.99 says, "Have any of the attorneys watched the professor's YouTube video on hearsay exceptions?"
Oh no,
I have not.
This
I would
professor,
love to.
no.
Is that like 3 hours long? Because that's
Yeah,
about how long it would take.
that's got to be like a 3-parter.
Yeah, it's a complex topic.
Okay. Caucasian Sensation for $5 says, "The post office is protected by federal law, but does not have anything to do with the government." Very true. Eva Roberts for $5 says, "What do you think cops say when they are arrested? If you answered, 'I want a lawyer,' you are correct."
Yes, good point.
If they're smart, yeah.
Yeah, or I want my union rep or something at least.
Yeah.
Oh, unless you're Stephanie Lazarus, who do you guys know about Stephanie Lazarus?
Yes.
No.
No.
She's an LAPD officer who in the 80s murdered her on again, off again boyfriend's new wife. And she was a police officer at the time, got away with it until like the 2010s. And then they were like, it was a cold case. And they were like, wait, we think it might have been Stephanie, Officer Lazarus. They bring her down to the police station. And she knows that she's committed this murder. And she makes I think they got her DNA. She makes all these incriminating statements. She thinks they're self-serving, but they're not. And then at the end of the interview, she's like, oh, they're like, it's not an interrogation. You're not under arrest, but they're still questioning her. And then at the end, she goes, "I want a lawyer," when she's like, she sees that they've really got her. And then they placed her under arrest. And then she was convicted. She's sitting in prison right now. So no, not all officers even think to say, "I need an attorney."
Yeah.
Always ask for a lawyer.
Wasn't that on that YouTube channel called That Chapter?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I know that.
If you haven't seen that channel, he just broke 1 million subscribers. He does basically legal cases, murders, kidnappings, that stuff. It's called That Chapter. It's a guy from the UK. Very good channel. Check it out.
I will.
Okay.
I'm sure he appreciates me saying that.
Cool. Yeah, I saw the stuff in the Lazarus thing. It was interesting. P Rhymes 321 for $20 says, a question for the lawyers. Is there any possible defense for the Capitol rioters, especially the auditor who is on tape planning to go and live streams himself fighting police? Also, the guy who got caught in Bumble.
They better get good lawyers.
Yeah.
I think they did sweep up. So you guys know I'm in that area. So they did sweep up people that were not inside the Capitol, but were outside the Capitol. Like when like Metro PD started coming in and busting heads and arresting everybody. So I think those people have so they were outside the building itself. They might have been filming, they might have been protesting, but they never actually went into the Capitol. I think those people they've been charged with like a whole bunch of different things. They have a much better defense than the people that actually entered into the Capitol building. You know, they're guilty of at least trespass because it's clear that the police didn't want them there anymore. And then they, breached the building and everything. So at least with trespass, I don't see how they get out of it once you entered into the building.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Benjamin Needens for $5 says, you can't fix stupid cat. Don't feel bad. He just needs a new nappy on. Jay Nepper for $5, no message. And then Jay Nepper for $5 as well. And says, I want a lawyer. Okay. And Dan Lowfat for $4.20, no message. And we just got another one. LG for $4.99 says, Duane's Hearsay Exceptions channel has hundreds of MSBE candidates thanking him. JCS Psychology channel has great breakdowns of interrogations. That's Jim Can't Swim, I believe.
I would be very interested to see like a psychological breakdown of the interrogation like techniques and whatnot, because that is absolutely where that comes from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've got two PayPal donations. One from David DeShelter for $10. Thank you very much. No message. Another from Prodigy Disc Jockeys for $10. No message. Thank you as well.
Where's that?
Okay.
It's just on my PayPal. I just get a notification on my
okay. Good. Okay. I was like,
the PayPal that's
Those are
in
better,
the
yeah.
description box. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
better,
those
yeah.
occasionally.
All right.
They are better because YouTube doesn't take a third of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One
Yeah,
more.
they snatch their coins. They're not playing.
No,
Because I think they like the live streaming more.
money.
Huh? Yeah.
And Jeff Bezos is making that cash.
Yeah.
Poor Jeff,
Oh,
Yeah, it's rough.
It's only worth $180 billion.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah. Well, you got one more from Caucasian Sensation for $5. Says, Jim Can't Swim, Criminal Psychology has the best analysis of Stephanie Lazarus. That chapter is awesome, too.
Okay.
Cool.
She's terrifying. Her eyes are so scary in that interrogation. The facial expressions she makes. I would love to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist break that down. Very scary.
Interesting.
Yeah. You just got another one, too. Judy Lipham for $4.99 says, the behavior panel is also great at breakdowns of interviews.
Well, thank you. That's
All right.
I've assembled the super panel.
Anything else? Or should
All right.
we go on?
Yeah.
Go on?
I guess let's go on. I mean, this guy's on a roll.
Yeah.
He's great.
But juries eat it up, and innocent people get convicted this way sometimes. How often? Hopefully not too often, but we know what happens. The United States Supreme Court, don't take my word for this. In Ohio versus Reiner, the Supreme Court of the United States said, quote, one of the Fifth Amendment's basic functions is to protect innocent men who otherwise might be ensnared by ambiguous circumstances. Truthful responses of an innocent witness, as well as those of a wrongdoer, may provide the government with incriminating evidence from the speaker's own mouth. See, it's not just some criminal defense attorney telling you this. Even the Supreme Court says I'm right. Under the facts of that case, by the way, in Ohio versus Reiner, a child tragically was died, apparently the result of shaken baby syndrome. The question was who had shaken this baby to death. And one of the possible suspects was a babysitter who had spent some...
Sorry. Stop timing out innocent auditor. He's not saying anything wrong, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Come on.
I've been very clear about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Here we go.
Hold on. I'm. Should I give him a wrench provisionally? Innocent
Yeah, he
auditors
hasn't
seem
said anything
like
wrong.
a
He
decent
hasn't said
enough
anything.
guy.
Yeah.
All right. Don't fuck me, innocent auditor. If you do, this is going to be the last time I give a wrench to one of you people. And yes, I said you people.
Yeah, I got attacked for saying that in the debate.
You
go.
people.
I know. Like, frauditors aren't a group.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Some time with the child that week. The babysitter's story was, I don't know what you're talking about. I did not kill the child. I did not see it happen. I don't know who shook the baby. It was never me. I never did anything of any violent nature to the child. The Ohio State Court said, well, you've got no Fifth Amendment privilege. You, by your own admission, told the investigators that you've done nothing wrong, that you were not involved. So obviously your answers can't incriminate you. The United States Supreme Court reversed and said, well, that's not true. Even though this babysitter denies shaking the child, denies seeing the child die, denies knowing how the child died, this babysitter, by her own admission, apparently the government wanted to ask whether the babysitter might have been with the child at some point that week, during the week prior to the death. And that answer, although by itself not sufficient to convict anybody, could help convict her. That means she's got a Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer to the question the court held, because it could be used to help convict.
All right, pause for 1 second.
United States.
Innocent auditor now has a wrench. I know I recently made a video about you. Which I probably called you stupid and an idiot and all that, but you still deserve a wrench. Do not abuse it, and you'll keep it. And to all of my other moderators, we've talked about this. Don't let me start taking wrenches. Carry on.
Okay. The Supreme Court said more than 50 years ago, eerily prophetic. They said too many Americans, even those who should be better advised, view this privilege as a shelter for wrongdoers. They too readily assume that those who invoke it are either guilty of crime or commit perjury in claiming the privilege. That's not true, and it never has been. But it gets worse. Can it get worse? It can. Number 5, even if your client is innocent and only tells the truth and does not tell the police anything incriminating, which, by the way, is almost impossible to pull this off. I mean, imagine talking to the police for 2, 3, 4 hours, and somebody like him can't somehow manage to extract from you something that could be used to help convict you. That'd be extraordinary. I don't think anybody's pulled it off. But even if you could pull it off, there's still a grave chance that his answers can and will be used to crucify you in a court of law if the police, no offense, don't recall his testimony with 100% accuracy. All right, now this brings us back to that pop quiz I warned you about. I told you earlier, remember, it's only been a few minutes, and you weren't up all night, and you weren't the subject of physical duress. You were in the relaxed setting of a classroom here. You were given heads up, advance notice that you would be quizzed on this. Question. We'll start with a couple of easy ones. Remember that article I read you about that? How many people did the police find shot to death last night at that Ocean View apartment that I told you about? A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, D, 4. Who says A? B. C. Get this. Get that with a camera. Move that camera around. Look how many hands we've got there for C. Okay, D. You're all wrong. Everybody who raised their hand, you are the kind of people who should never talk to the police under any circumstances for as long as you live. Why is C not the right answer, by the way? If you know, raise your hand. Yes?
Because you didn't state the cause of death.
Excellent. I didn't say anybody was shot. I didn't say gun, bullet, shooting, firearms. Didn't use any of those words. But I don't blame you if you thought that I did. This is the way the human mind works. We hear things, we fill in details. I said gangland-style slaying. That may or may not imply something, but it doesn't mean that anybody was shot. And that's the problem. You see, even if your client is innocent and only tells the truth and doesn't tell them anything incriminating, and his statement is videotaped, his answers can be used to crucify him. You might say, wait, how can that happen? I insisted, at my insistence, I called the police and I said, look, if you want to talk to my client, you can talk to him, but only if you videotape the whole thing. I don't want there to be any debate between the two of you over what happened. Okay, we'll videotape the whole thing. If the police don't recall their questions with 100% accuracy, he'll be convicted on that statement alone. For example, suppose a man goes to the police, they say, we're investigating a possible murder, a shooting. And the guy says, quote, I don't know who killed Jones, Officer Brook, with all due respect. It wasn't me. I've never touched or fired a gun in my life. How can that help incriminate this man? How could that possibly be used against this man to help
because
convict
they
him?
didn't say he was shot.
It's inconceivable.
Yep.
But it's as easy as pie. All the officer has to do is read this statement to the jury, and then the prosecutor says, Officer Brooke, was there anything about that statement that confused you or surprised you? Yes, there was, he says, in a moment of sinister, high drama in the courtroom. And what was that? And then Officer Brooke turns to the jurors and he says, I never said anything about a shooting. I said we were investigating a murder. He was the one who brought up a gun.
Yep.
Then you turn to your client, and your client says, that's not true, that's not true. I remember he was the one, or one of the cops. I was with them for 3 hours. One of them in the car said something about, they said they had a witness that I was the shooter. Okay, I'll put you on the stand. And then your client testifies, no, they did tell me shooting. They mentioned it before I said anything about a gun. They brought it up first. And then the police said, that's not true. And now what? It's your word against theirs? For what?
God.
You're gambling with your client's life. And
Yep.
police officers can very easily make a mistake like that, just as so many of you did just a few minutes ago.
Yes, that's the thing, is that you guys ask like, oh, are these like cops like doing it on purpose? Sometimes it for real is confirmation bias. They are trained to be suspicious of everything. Like it's not even that they are purposefully trying to get a wrongful confession or a wrongful conviction. Sometimes, yeah, it's like they don't care and they're not going to do their due diligence, and anybody will do. But sometimes it's like they genuinely believe it because those are the type of interrogation tactics that they're taught. So this is just so very perfect. Like it could have been that an officer said like, oh, there was a shooting and then forgot he said that. Or it could just be that a normal human being, like, what's the more likely way that someone died? They probably got shot. That's a really common way that someone dies. So you just assume, right? And think you heard that. So all of these are just excellent examples of why you don't talk to the police. You don't
Exactly.
do it.
Yep. Exactly.
Good.
Ago about whether you recalled having heard me say something about somebody actually being shot. Police make mistakes, innocently, inadvertently, unintentionally. Any statement, no matter how exculpatory it may seem on its face, can be used to crucify you all by itself if the police are either willing to lie, not likely, or if they just have an innocent misrecollection of the details as to what they did and did not tell you before you told them what you said. All of these, by the way, all of these problems disappear if you take Justice Jackson's advice and say, thank you very much, officer, but no thanks. How about this one? Here we go. Now, here's the most surprising of all. I've saved the most surprising one for last. Let's suppose you've got the following scenario. Your client's thinking about talking to the police. He acts like he says, I've got nothing to hide. They think that I killed somebody in Virginia Beach last night. Well, this is what your client tells you in confidence. I don't know who robbed that store. It wasn't me. In fact, I've got a pretty good alibi. I wasn't even in Virginia Beach that night, last night. I was 4 hours away visiting my mother in the Outer Banks. Unfortunately, no, I did not pay for gas with a credit card. I used cash, and so I've got no witnesses that can prove I was there except my word, and of course, Mama, for what that's worth, which is nothing. So your client says, so the police want to talk to me, and I want to seem cooperative, so what I'll do is I'll tell them that I was in the Outer Banks last night. Now, there's nothing on its face incriminating about any of that. Let's assume, by the way, that you believe with all your doubt. You've given your client a polygraph exam. You've known him for years. You've been going to the same Bible study for 30 years. You know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's telling you the truth. And he's not admitting anything. He's not admitting motive. He's not admitting opportunity. He's not admitting that he was there. How on earth could this come back to haunt us? How on earth could this come back to be used against us? Be honest. Raise your hand if you really think the answer to that question is, I can't see how it could possibly be used against me. You're afraid I'll call on you, right? I won't call on you. Well, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. You're always wrong. Everything you say. Every time you talk to the police, you will regret it. You see, the problem is, here it is. This is the last point. I think it's almost, even if your client is innocent and only tells the truth and doesn't tell the police anything incriminating, and the entire interview, questions and answers are videotaped, even his truthful answers can be helped to crucify even an innocent man. If the police, through no fault of theirs, end up in the possession of any evidence, even mistaken and unreliable evidence, that anything your client told them was false, even if in fact it was true. Again, going back to this example from a moment ago. Let's suppose I go ahead and I meet with the police. I think I got nothing to hide. I tell them I was in the Outer Banks last night, officer. How can that be used to convict me? By itself, it cannot. It cannot help at all by itself. But what if I later find out, to my horror, after I put my cards on the table, that they've got a witness, a girl that I went to high school with, an unimpeachable witness. We've never been enemies. She'd have no reason to lie. She swears she thinks she saw me in Virginia Beach last night, a couple of blocks away from that store, about an hour before it was robbed. Now, her testimony by itself isn't going to help the prosecutor. Hell, if she's all they've got, I'll get this case thrown out before trial. But if, like an idiot, I talked to the police and I told them the truth, I told them I was in the Outer Banks, and now, lo and behold, tragically, it turns out they've got a witness, a false, mistaken, confused, but sincere and credible witness who could testify that I was here at Virginia Beach, now they're likely to get a conviction. Because what they'll do, I've just turned this cop and this woman into the government star witnesses. They'll put Officer Brook on to testify about how my client lied to him about being in the Outer Banks, and then they'll put on this girl who otherwise would have not even helped with their case at all, who will testify, no, that's not true, that was a lie. I saw Mr. Duane's client here in Virginia an hour before the robbery, not so far from the store. By herself, she would not have helped the government in any significant way. But what I have just done, you see, is given them the other part of the puzzle, and now I'm doomed. Just ask them. I close with this example. Here we have a couple of recent celebrity examples of why it is that even people who admit nothing always end up denying it. They always end up regretting it. On the left, we have Martha Stewart. She was the subject of an extensive government investigation that was looking into the possibility that she was guilty of violations of certain federal laws, securities laws, fraud kinds of things. They couldn't pin that on her, but they were able to get a conviction because she denied it. Talking to the police and later to some of the shareholders, she said, no, it's not true. I was not guilty. So they charged her with lying to federal investigators, and they got a conviction, and she was sentenced to 5 months in prison. Marion Jones on the right side, another person who would still be out today if she had always taken the advice that I'm giving you now. She was asked if she had ever used steroids, a controlled substance. And instead of taking the fifth, she said, no, I never took steroids when I won those Olympic gold medals. Later on, it turned out that she was lying. She worked out a deal. She pled guilty. She admitted that she was lying. And she, over her strenuous, tear-filled objection, even though she has 2 young children, was just recently sentenced to prison for 6 months. The guy who sold her the steroids, the pusher, he got only 4 months. But she got 6 months because she lied to the police and said that she did not do it. You see the problem. Michael Vick, who recently pled guilty, as you know, to these charges with respect to the operation of this dog combat sort of operation at his home. At sentencing, like many other criminal defendants, even though he eventually pled guilty at sentencing, one of the reasons his sentence was a little harder than it might have otherwise been, the judge said, was because when he initially met with the police, he lied to them and said, I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. Even guilty people, but not only guilty people, will always end up regretting talking to the police. So my advice to you,
Paul,
Justice Jackson was...
Natalie needs to get going, so we're going to give her some time to sign off.
Oh, thank you. First of all, Schrodinger, thank you so much for having me again. I appreciate it. Thank you to your wonderful community. It was nice seeing all of you. And I hope you all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And OPT, you're looking good. Good to see your face. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, Natalie.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think this is probably maybe not the most fun stream that we've had, but probably the most important, because I don't think most people even realize all these pitfalls. But yeah, this professor is really giving us a workshop on why you don't talk to cops. But we'll go a little bit longer. We've been going almost 2 hours. We'll see how the audience holds out.
Sorry, my cat decided to unplug my monitor.
They do that.
They do that.
Yeah.
Your volume's super, super low, Tina. Yeah, I can barely hear you.
How's that?
Better.
Just saying my dog ended the live stream by chewing through the plug once.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was the end of the video, so.
Oh, okay. Shit, do we got anything else, or what are we going to do? I didn't plan for that. We can still barely hear you. I don't know what's going on your end. Check your connections and all your stuff and things. Clifton, we got super chats while she squares herself away.
If you're muted.
Thank you very much. Okay, Stephen Kuhnha for $4.99 says $5 retainer for an internet lawyer. LOL. Angela Tuzzi for $5 says Dr. Grande did an episode on Lazarus. Okay, cute. Jay Nepper for $25 says, "Send me a hi, folks. If you hear a beep, you're lucky." Okay. Eva Roberts for $20 says, "Natalie is really breaking this down a lot. If I was still in law enforcement, she would be the last defense attorney I would want to see if I messed up." All right. And that is all of the super chats we have.
So,
Oh, one more just came up. Dave Hansen for $5 says, "I'm probably not the first one here to say I wish I had seen this before I talked to the cops."
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. It's no matter what, and especially if you're a parent to, I've got a preteen. He's going to turn 13 in June, and just because you're innocent, you don't go running your mouth. The cops say, "Here's." Something just happened, so you run over to the nearest cop and say, "Here's 10,000 reasons why I didn't do it."
yeah.
So everybody should watch that.
I did it when I was a kid. When I was in college, I didn't know any better. I was innocent. I got myself in a little bit of trouble, whatever. I had to disclose it to the bar to pass character and fitness. You all can relate to that.
Yeah.
It was the big issue, but I was just so dumb. I thought, I don't really do anything bad. I'm just going to talk to the police, and I got hammered. Small issue, but still, just got hammered.
Yeah.
I went through the same thing trying to get a security clearance. I've had to sit in front of multiple investigators and explain stuff that happened when I was 18 years old.
Yep.
When I'm 40, I'm trying to explain stuff that happened when I was 18
Yeah.
to investigators. It's just because I didn't shut the fuck up. So I think this should be just mandatory viewing. So what better place than here with you guys to go through this? Hopefully we can, because I think we got probably another 30 minutes in us. Maybe we can find a quick video. Maybe somebody saw something stupid recently that we can pull up.
So kind of like an offshoot of this topic, I can also say, don't talk about your entire case over the jailhouse phone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because as it turns out, they really are recorded and they really are listened to.
Jeremy DeWitt.
Or how about don't record it and post it on YouTube?
Or then there's that too.
I mean, I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I mean, I've had so many clients on appeal where they've called their girlfriend or whatnot, and they literally admit to everything in the case, but they don't care because I'm just talking to my girlfriend and whatnot, despite the fact that it keeps coming up every 5 minutes to say this call is being recorded and maybe being monitored. They don't care. They just tell
it's like out of sight, out of mind completely.
Yeah. Exactly. And then they're shocked when the prosecutor files a notice of intent to use evidence, and the attorney is just like, "What did you do?
What the fuck?"
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, why? What did you just do? You just screwed my entire case because you had to call your girlfriend.
Yeah, did you guys ever hear Dalia DiPolito, who plotted to kill her husband, then called her husband on the jail phone? And was yeah, that was a classic.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, he was not
That's a poor plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bold strategy, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's awful. What the hell, woman?
Yeah, it's literally like you changed mics and your other mic is like across the room.
Yeah, check what mic you're on. Well, then you're in a different state than that mic.
Yeah.
All right, so what happened recently that we can watch? What's something stupid?
Yeah, I'm seeing a few things in the chat where people are just like, wow, I never realized this and whatnot. I'm like, no one does. As you said, we're all like growing up to like, all the cops are your friends and whatnot. And you know what? They may be in a different capacity, but when we're talking about a criminal act, don't answer the questions.
Yeah.
I don't blame anyone for not realizing this.
Yeah, and a lot of people might think, "Oh, I've known this cop. You're in a small town. Oh, I don't want to piss him off by saying I'm not going to talk to him."
Mm-hmm.
like the guy said at the beginning, there's no benefit. You cannot win. It's a rigged game.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a downside.
Yeah.
You guys all see?
Go ahead.
Sorry, have you guys all seen the witness intimidation video from Judge Middleton's court?
No, I don't think so.
No.
That's a really good one.
Okay.
Maybe we can pull that up if Tina can
How long
get
is
herself
it?
squared away.
It's not that long. I mean, you can jump to the pertinent part.
I did a video on it. It's pretty good.
Well, we could just pull up your video on it. How long's your video?
Let me think what it is. What did I call that thing?
Oh, dead air. Everybody.
Related to Bane Act.
Artie, sing a song for us.
No.
Country Roads, Artie. Let's get on it.
West Virginia.
My vocal cords need to rest, so I'm going to take it easy today.
How's the chat behaving? Have we recovered?
Seems like all right. I haven't been paying too much about.
Yeah, we're good in the chat.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone
All right.
So-
turning anyone out.
Mike, Artie, I don't know about you guys, but I always said if I ever wrote a book about like my appellate life, I would call it, quote, "And then my client took the stand," unquote. Talk about all of the cases, and there's a lot of them, where my client on appeal insisted on testifying and basically admitted all of the elements of the crime on the stand.
Yep.
Like, well, bro, there goes my arguments. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
we-
it's called Wild Court Moments #1 on my channel. And that video is 10 minutes and 29 minutes, but you don't have to watch all of it. And it's got me babbling in the middle of it. So
That's
but not too
mathematically
long.
impossible. It can't be 10 minutes and 29 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
10:29.
Just fucking with you.
What is it again? Mike,
Yeah?
what was the name of it again?
Wild Court Moments #1.
Tina, stay strong. We're sending Lassie to come get you.
Yeah.
I'll quit right now.
We'll send her a St. Bernard with one of those casks around their neck.
Yeah.
Don't make me quit. I'll leave.
Hey.
There we go.
Look who
What?
can be heard now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't sound any different to me.
What did you do?
All right.
I fidgeted with the wires.
I'm starting my Saturday night here.
Okay.
Oh, you're so far behind, dude.
I know, right? All right, here we go.
From Chicago, as usual, and today we're going to start a new series. We're going to call this one Wild
Nope, I'm fast ordering.
#1.
Court number 11. Links in the description below. Let's go.
Stop. All right, this is Kobe. Is this the first one or the second one, Mike?
Which first one?
Is this
Of
when
which
they?
video?
Yeah, is this?
Wild Court Moments #1, I think.
No, I know, but is this Kobe's first appearance or second?
Oh, this guy. Okay.
It's the first appearance.
Okay, so this is when he actually
This
does
guy.
it. Okay,
Oh, we already saw
gotcha.
this one before, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, but still, this is
we all
insane.
have, but let's do it. All right, so Kobe is supposed to be Kobe's here because he's been arrested for hitting his girlfriend, and he has a stay away order from that girl.
Yep.
There we go.
Assault upon Mary Lindsay with the intent to commit great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. That is a felony punishable by
And this is pretty
10
somber,
years
but I love
imprisonment and
Middleton
fine
when
of
it- when it's not so somber.
Wait a
$5,000.
minute.
Right.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing, was I? I'm so sorry. You guys
Oh,
got me so freaked out.
I like him with Samir Siraj Morrow Bay. It's my favorite.
Yeah, you're on a different. Yeah. Here we go.
With the intent to commit great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. That is a felony punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $5,000. You're charged as a second habitual offender, making that a maximum
She's kind of
15-year
cute.
offense.
She's very pretty, yeah.
Who's handling this one? Deborah, are you doing it?
Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor.
She's sharp too.
Okay, so this one's a little more serious than our usual. Usually we're dealing with traffic offenses and all
Should I
that stuff
fast
when it
forward
comes to
for Mike?
sovereign citizens. This is
Yeah.
much more.
Already here.
All right, good.
We are live on YouTube. This is being recorded,
Hello,
and
Judge
it's on the Zoom platform. Ms. Davis, ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lindsay, could you join us, please?
Here's the girlfriend, Lindsay. In a second.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't figure it out.
Do you have the ability to turn your camera on?
Oh, hold on a second. It just told me to unmute it.
Oh, so she's a flat earther. She can't technology.
Right? There she is.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh.
Can you see me?
Yes.
It's Daphne from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Would you please raise your right hand?
Ruh-roh.
Don't give the secret away if you guys know it.
Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Davis?
Why do they always lean
Ms.
so
Lindsay,
far
would
into
you
the
state your
camera?
full name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Mary Elizabeth Lindsay, Lindsey.
On that date, did you come into contact with a Kobe Harris?
I did.
And do you see Kobe in the virtual courtroom here today? And if you're on a phone, if you swipe
yes.
to the right, can you describe what he looks like or what he's wearing?
I was going to say, hold on. A gray hoodie.
That's blue, isn't
It's
it?
not. It's not gray.
Is
It's
there
blue.
anything else identifiable about him?
He looks like a douche.
Not wearing a hat, and he
He
usually
looks
does.
like a guy who messes up his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
Honor, may the record reflect that she has identified the defendant. I think he's the only one wearing a hoodie here.
With those glasses, she can already
Okay,
see the
this whole
verdict.
thing fascinates me so far. See, I think it's people are doing now, but via Zoom, and you're saying by process.
Kobe?
Yeah.
And are you two in a dating relationship, or what is your relationship with each other on that day?
Yeah, we've been dating, yeah.
And do you have any children together?
Oh God, please say no.
Say no. Say no.
We do
Say
not.
no.
We both have children separately.
Yeah, this is really
Separately,
strange.
so
This
not together.
testimony per faith that they can have.
Mr. Harris?
I think it was like kind of later in the evening. Not super late, maybe like 8 or 9.
And that apartment, just to clarify, is in Sturgis, correct? In St. Joseph County, Michigan?
Yeah.
And what were you and Kobe arguing about, if you remember?
It was just that we weren't, I had said I wasn't going to come back to the apartment, so he was there, and so then, that kind of initially just had started the argument.
And during the course of the argument, what happened?
It wasn't even a very long argument. We just kind of both got really angry. It was just kind of like an accusative argument, just like, I don't know.
She's not answering the question.
Oh, worst witness
Okay,
ever.
Did the police come to your apartment that night?
They did, yeah.
And why did they come to the apartment?
Do you know what an ad blocker, Mike?
Because the police were called.
No.
Came here.
Did you hear the question? Why did the police come? Because the police were called.
Who called
Why
the
does she
police?
keep having to pause so much though? Like,
Do you haven't seen
like-
Schrodinger?
no, but it's
Okay.
frustrating because she keeps having to
Hedging.
stop it.
She's hedging, yeah.
She's being evasive.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
do you see where she's looking at all?
To the left.
Yeah. Okay. Just keep watching her.
I mean, technically me.
I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but it
Who
doesn't
called the
take
police? They asked, and she said, "Well, technically me."
That
She's
now
not been
see
charged.
that's a big red flag.
Yeah,
Technically,
keep it playing though.
Keep it playing. Okay.
Sorry.
No.
The other
You'll
thing, Your
see
Honor,
why,
I
huh?
think that's asking for hearsay. I think when she asked what
That's
happened,
his
not
judge.
what she said that day, because that would be hearsay. What she said
I mean,
that
his
day.
lawyer.
It's asking for her to repeat
Your
what
Honor.
she said out of court.
Again, so much to unpack here.
Your Honor, I have reason to believe that the defendant is in the same apartment as the complaining witness right now, and
This is not the version I saw because the version I
No,
saw.
I know, right? Yeah, you edited out the cop that was making a phone call.
Yeah. Where's the cop, Mike?
I got a bad copy of it and just did it, and then I heard my comments 1,000 times.
All right. So in the version I saw that was taken right from the judge, there's a cop in here too, and Deborah's talking to him the whole time because she keeps looking to
shit.
the left and hedging her statements. Because
Oh,
he's
so
there.
she's being coached.
He's there.
In
with
the
her.
center of this, in the center of the screen, you could see a police officer, and you could see him make pick up his phone and make a phone call to get cops over there at the house.
Oh shit!
He's there with her.
Yeah, press play. Yeah. We're almost there though.
safe before we continue. And that wasn't hearsay.
I know.
Let me look for the real
I'm
version.
at a house.
What's the address?
If you have time, we could maybe do super chats real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll see if I can find it for you.
Sure. Okay, so Cypress Gagne for $4.99 says, "Please tell your cat I love him." I think that's for Artie. Katrina Middleton. Oh, okay.
Aw, thanks. I'll let her know.
Okay. Katrina Middleton for $10 says, "Dream panel. This is fun." Yes, it is. Natalie Lawyer.
We're going to try to do this once a month, by the way, just so everybody knows.
Middleton Kobe Harris.
Well, thank you.
Natalie Lawyer Chick for $14.99. No message. Thank you. Benjamin Needens for $5 says, "Do you think I could jump on this talk to share a funny story with you guys that happened with the cops?"
No.
Email me. We'll try to schedule it.
Okay. Cool. Eva Roberts for $5 says, someone made an entire album off of Jailhouse phone that was recorded. Okay.
I'm not surprised.
That would be interesting. Mike71 for $2 says, "How do you guys like the Rappaport STFU videos?"
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Caucasian Sensation for $5 says, "Dalia Dipolito had the best example of gaslighting by a psychopath on that phone call from the jail to her husband. Jim Can't Swim covered her too." Yeah, I remember that. That.
Can't find it.
All right, that's different.
Marble. You can already tell that it's not that one because the prosecutor's wearing something different.
I put something in our internal
Just
chat.
play a couple more minutes. The
Got it.
best is when
I got
they
the
the best
second
is when they cut to the defendant. It really is.
I found it.
You got this first one? Okay, I got the second one. Go ahead. Send it to me in whatever. Where are you sending it to? Discord?
I'll send it to you in the private chat.
Okay.
Normal Nobody, new member, welcome to the bunkers.
Thank you very much. You're now eligible to guess on how many major islands are in Hawaii.
I thought it was the name of the 8.
Is that really the
47.
What?
Is that?
I thought it was the name of the 8. Yeah, I thought it was the name of the 8 main islands.
Yeah. It's the name of the 8 islands out of the 132-ish islands that make up. There's a fuckload of islands that make up the archipelago, but there's 8 major ones.
Oh, did you put it in?
That's what she said.
Oh, shut up! I hate you. Who's giving me the link? Is that OBT?
Yeah.
Ooh, no.
OBT, maybe he has it.
Okay, got it.
I found one from a news site, but
I found one as well that says the longer video though.
Okay,
I found the one from like one of the news channels, but
I got it.
I mean, it is like pretty much the video taken from the Zoom itself. So
That's what we're looking at. Here we go.
Yep, that's it.
And I gotta give it to Deborah, who's a prosecutor, and that cop. That was some good shit that they did. I mean, come on.
They were fat. Yeah, they are
worked
fast.
really well together behind those scenes, man. He didn't know what hit him. Should I go back to the same place or what?
Yeah, I want to see. I'm clueless here. I don't know what happened.
I'm at a house.
Back up,
Yeah,
because
okay.
they start deep into this.
Yeah, because you missed all that too, Mike, when they ask her where she is.
Off to the side, and he's moving around as the complaining witness right now.
However, the prosecutor grew suspicious and raised her concerns to the judge, adding that she was extremely scared for Mary's safety.
Your Honor, I have reason to believe that the defendant is in the same apartment as the complaining witness right now, and I'm extremely scared for her safety. And the fact that she's looking off to the side and he's moving around, I want some confirmation that she is safe before we continue. And that wasn't hearsay. We'll get to that in a few moments.
Lindsay, where are you right now?
It wasn't.
I'm at a house.
Where are you right now? I'm at a house.
Yeah, gee, that doesn't scream like oh.
Why don't they just make the other guy pan his camera?
You'll see.
What's the address?
It's my house.
It's my house. The fuck?
What's the address?
108 West Hatch.
Okay. Mr. Harris, where are you?
703, Your Honor.
All right. What are you on? A laptop or a phone?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, bitch.
Phone.
Who else?
All right. I want you to walk out to the front of the house. Show me the house number on the house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why? I don't even think this phone has the charge for that, so I'm at like 2%.
No.
Another 2%, yo.
I can't unplug it, dude.
Hooked up to this wall charger right here.
Your Honor.
We're knocking at the door right now for Miss Lindsay.
What?
The police are at Miss Lindsay's apartment right now, knocking on the door.
All right.
Oh,
Ms.
this is
Lindsay, would
so
you go
good.
answer
Why
the
didn't we
door?
lead with this?
What?
Why didn't we lead with this? This is so good.
It's so old though. We've all seen
I
it.
honestly thought you've already seen it, Schrodinger.
Yeah.
I've never seen this. This is great.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I could have sworn you saw it. I'm sorry, guy.
Glad I brought it
Yeah,
up,
give me
then.
1 second.
You take your phone with you so that I know you're okay.
And they're blurring it so you can't see it, but when she gets to the door, she won't let the police in at first.
Yeah.
She is so into protecting this piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
The one who beats her, she's protecting.
Hi.
Kobe's here.
There's no reason you haven't seen it, Harley. I showed it on my channel. So right now she's blocking the cops at the door. And they're like, you gotta let us in. It's the ending that I love.
And now she's gone.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
And what is he looking at? I wonder what he's looking at. Oh, look up here. Oh,
He's gone. But wait.
But wait, yeah, the best.
We may need to adjourn this, Your Honor.
I love her.
So it appears Mr. Harris is there at that house?
Yep.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Yep.
Look at his lawyer.
We would ask that his bond.
Paul Gibson is his lawyer over the bottom right corner.
Yeah. Yes, wisely keeping his mouth shut because there is nothing good to be said here.
Why did I get up this morning? I'm sorry, but I think Kobe had before this had a case against his own lawyer because he was not helping him at all. Just saying.
To be canceled.
Yeah, so we'll confirm what we're going to find here.
Officer Edgington, which officer have responded?
I was speaking with Sergeant Marsh.
Thank you.
Oh, watch this, watch this.
Kobe.
Look at the phone he's
And guess who's behind him? The cops.
And look at the phone
phone he's
name.
on.
It's her name.
It's her
Yep,
phone.
it's on her name.
Wouldn't that be
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Wouldn't that be
This is the best part.
This is the best part. Listen to this.
I know
Okay,
it's serious, but when they cut to him and he's got the cigarette hanging out of his
I
mouth,
know. The cigarette's a nice detail.
I lost my mind.
Here we go.
Me and Mary both don't want the no contact. I asked if that be dropped. I'm sorry I lied to you. I knew the cops were outside. I don't know why I lied to
Mr.
you.
Harris, my advice is don't say anything else. Take the cigarette out of your mouth. The hearing is adjourned.
Look at his lawyer.
Your bond is canceled.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.
If you have $10 million, you can't bond out. In addition, the prosecutor is probably also going to charge you with obstruction of justice. It may be a situation of you and Mary want the bond conditions lifted, you want them lifted. She does not. We're serious as a heart attack. It's the first time I ever had anybody sitting in the next room potentially intimidating a witness and assault great bodily harm. All right, don't say any more about it. Your bond is canceled. You're digging your hole. You've hit bottom and you're continuing to dig.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the second one?
Wouldn't it be contempt on her as well? Or was she being court?
This is the second one.
They're going to give leniency to the complaining witness every time.
Yeah, not to mention, I'm not sure what they charge.
It should be
outside of contempt,
but it's not.
Yeah.
He could have broken in there and made her do it. You know, they don't know.
Can we just more the prosecutor, like just pull her frame up and just watch?
When I did this, that's what happens literally 98% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was checking like this guy's the court's YouTube page. It looks like they delete things after like a month and a half or something like that. So that's why I can't find the original video of this because it's too late.
I've got the second one.
Yeah, this one's still up.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
On the record, Mr. Harris was given an opportunity to discuss the matter.
Can I ask the lawyers, would you have kept him as a client?
I mean, my guess is that he's like Mr. Gibson there's appointed. So I would have had to have.
That's why he has that defeated look. Okay.
Do you think so, OPT?
Based on how he acts in this hearing, yes.
Right.
I would pray to God he was not hired.
At the end of that video, Middleton just says, I assume that the attorney didn't know anything about it. But my first thought as an attorney is I'm thinking, I want no part of this. I'm an officer of the court. I did not condone him being in the same room as the complaining witness.
No, absolutely not. No, yeah, I mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'd be able to get off his case.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm positive the judge didn't even think that, but at least I hope he wouldn't.
No, he didn't think so, and I don't think it's the case either. But it is a hot mess for that attorney.
That's all. Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. No. I don't mean the end of. I mean this hearing, like the second one we're gonna watch. There's some things he does that it's like he just lets things pass, and it's like
oh. Because I was wondering, do you think OBT that he's getting back at this kid?
No.
Because he lets a lot of shit slide.
The thing I would say is that this is a preliminary examination in Michigan, which is basically like a probable cause hearing to determine whether or not there's enough evidence to bind it over to felony court. So, like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not that important of a hearing, but still,
this is a done deal. Even if you have something on defense, you don't spend it here.
No, I do agree, but it's just evidentiary. You'll see it, I think. Like, there's just some evidentiary objections that I'm just like, make those, please.
Mm-hmm.
What's the link they're talking about, Cliff?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. That's why I asked.
Okay, here you go.
Privately at the last moment. Mr. Harris, I apologize. We started another hearing first, which took some strange twists and turns. Then Mr. Gibson had some other obligations. Our intention was to do this right at 1 o'clock, but it didn't work out. I've advised you of what the charge is. This is the time and date for a preliminary examination. That is a hearing where there must be established that a crime was committed and probable cause that you did it. You won't be found guilty or not guilty at this hearing. It's simply a preliminary examination to see if there's enough evidence to send the matter to the circuit court for further proceedings. Mr. Gibson, how do we proceed here today?
I believe that Mr. Harris wants to have a preliminary exam today.
All right, that's fine. Ms. Davis?
Your Honor, we are also demanding that the preliminary exam continue. I'm assuming that we can start where we left off last time, except for the complaining witness who was subpoenaed properly has not appeared today.
When was the subpoena served?
Officer Edgington, can you speak to that? I believe it was either Friday or Saturday after the first preliminary examination.
So what's happened here is the victim has currently failed to appear.
I also spoke with the complaining witness on Saturday, March 13th. We had a long conversation. She understood that court was today. We've been searching for her through different family members, police, and no one has been able to have contact with her today.
All right. Mr. Harris, we might as well discuss this at this point. The prosecutor has filed a new complaint against you, alleging that between March 9th and March 12th, that you did count 1, willfully impede, interfere, or prevent, or obstruct, or attempt to willfully impede, interfere, or obstruct a witness from testifying. That is a felony punishable by up to 4 years imprisonment. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of that as a habitual offender, which would make it a 6-year maximum offense. The allegation in the affidavit is that you made a number of phone calls from the jail after the last hearing to Miss Lindsay and told her not to come to court. On March 9th, there were 2. March 10th, there's alleged to be 1. March 12th, there's alleged to be 1. Those calls are all recorded through the jail's Secures program. And,
so he's shaking his head no as the judge says they're recorded.
Would you ask? No, just a minute.
He gets stupid when she comes in again.
I'm going to show you're pleading not guilty on those new charges.
Your Honor.
Just a minute. I'm going to set a pre-exam conference for March 30th at 9 a.m. and a preliminary examination, if needed, for April 6th at 1. The duty attorney for that week is again Paul Gibson. Yes, Mr. Harris, what would you like to tell me?
I think my lawyer has something to ask you.
All right. Well, that's probably why you shouldn't.
I hate it when my client says that.
Mr. Gibson.
Exactly. I would too.
Mr. Harris would like me to address the court about his bond. He indicates to me that he has serious financial issues right now and that he is asking the court to grant him a PR bond.
What's a PR bond? Is that like owner recognizance?
Personal recognizance.
No.
Yeah.
It basically means that
set him free.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll notice he started this whole thing off with my client would like me to ask that, which is just kind of like that red flag to the judge that I don't believe this, but my client is demanding I do this. So here we go.
He reads it like a hostage statement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, a PR bond is what you get on like a first time DUI or like a shoplifting misdemeanor or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Regard to
Stop. I'm not granting a PR bond. In fact, I'm canceling bond in his new case. He's alleged to have continued to obstruct justice while an inmate at the jail, and they've got multiple recorded phone conversations of her trying to convince her not to.
See,
go
I
here.
told you,
And
phone
lo and
conversations.
behold, she
Stop
isn't
it.
here. So I'm going to mute his microphone. So bond is canceled in the new case.
He just got his wrench taken away.
I don't like this a bit. I didn't like what went down on March 2nd. Now we have a lawfully served witness who isn't here, and I'm not sure the reasons for that. Probably she didn't want nationwide notoriety. But she's been served. She isn't here. Ms. Gibson, how do you propose, Ms. Davis, how do you propose to proceed with the case that's before the court at this time? We did an interlude to arraign him on his new charge.
Your Honor, we have had Dennis Brandenburg from Central Dispatch waiting patiently to do his portion of the testimony. If we could at least restart the prelim and get that out of the way, that would be ideal at this point. I mean, I understand that we started with one witness, but under the circumstances, I'd ask the court to allow us to continue with the witnesses that we do have here today.
All right. Dennis, thank you.
Just
for
real
waiting
quick, I
patiently.
do see that a Marvel girl is having her way with News Now Ninja in the side chat, and I approve.
Having her way, yeah.
Good afternoon. Dennis is the only one that's been here longer than me. And so I don't know what that says about us.
Roll.
All right, Officer Brandenburg, would you please raise your right hand?
Not officer.
You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Brandenburg, would you state your full name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Dennis Brandenburg, Brandenburg.
And are you the head of the Central Dispatch here in St. Joseph County, Michigan?
Yes, I am.
As part of your duties, do you keep the records of calls that are made to Central Dispatch or 911?
Yes, I do.
And was there a call to 911 on February 9th, 2021 regarding 108 Hatch Street?
Regarding what?
108 Hatch Street.
Yes, there was.
And was that call recorded?
Yes, it was.
And did you provide a copy of that call to the Sturgis Police Department?
Yes, we did.
Your Honor, I would ask to play the 911 tape from February 9th, 2021.
Mr. Gibson?
I guess I question whether or not there's been a foundation laid to where we are ready to hear the tape, but I would leave that in the court's discretion.
All right.
It's a half-hearted
Ms.
objection.
Lindsay, when she testified at the first hearing, indicated that she was the one that called 911 on that date.
From that address.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, that tape or the digital preservation of it is plaintiff's exhibit number 1 for purposes of this hearing. You may publish it.
Thank you. Collect call from. Get the right one pulled up here.
Paul, your dogs are barking. Pull something up.
Seems like some dead air here. What's going on?
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to where she comes in. Here she is.
You know how I hate dead air.
I know, huh? I'm sorry. I didn't know if any lawyers were going to make some good points because I didn't know if they were going to say anything. I can't remember.
No, all of our good lawyers have left. We just left with it.
No, I'm talking about on here.
Left with the B team.
I didn't mean these guys, please.
Good afternoon. Are you Mary Lindsay?
She's wearing the same thing. Really? She can't tack. Oh, Jesus.
She's probably a flat earther.
Lindsay, can you hear me?
All right, yeah, no, so it doesn't
Good
matter.
afternoon, Miss.
Don't watch her, watch him when she comes in, okay? Because the judge is watching him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to continue to do stupid things. Mm-hmm.
She looks like Daphne from.
Yeah, she does.
Good afternoon, Miss Lindsay. Can you hear me?
No, she's too stupid. Oh, she might have been smart before she met him, and he just kept hitting her in the head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're getting there.
Keep watching him, though.
Miss Lindsay, can you hear me?
She's not even looking.
The prosecutor
but I can't
looks
hear
pretty
anything.
self-satisfied.
Your Honor, it looks like when I open the participants section, she doesn't have the audio, so she needs to.
Let's see if I can get to the part. No, okay. Damn. Okay. He's gonna start blowing her kisses and stupid shit like that, is what I'm saying.
We're getting there.
Oh, that's so.
And
Yep.
the judge is like, nah, I'm gonna hide you.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Lindsay, can you hear me?
She's not even paying attention at this point.
It's got to be frustrating for everybody
I can see you,
in
but I
the
can't
court
hear anything.
because normally you
Honor,
would
it
have
looks
the
like
people in front
when
of
I
you.
open the
Yeah.
participants
Like,
section,
can you
she
imagine
doesn't
though, this
have
judge, because I
audio,
watch him
so
all
she
the
needs
time.
to.
He
I was
goes through
trying
this
to
several
text her
times a day, every
because you don't have
day.
the chat feature.
People don't know how
Yeah,
to
and I
text.
can't,
Ugh,
Mary, can you hear me?
I'd lose it.
We need you
Yeah, there he
to,
goes.
Oh Lord.
Mr. Harris, she can't see you. She's looking at a phone. I'm gonna blank out your screen because you're playing the fool there. So you'll be able to hear it, but you won't be able to see it.
There you go. So yeah, and then I'll fast forward to the other interesting part. Because they get her, she finally says, yeah, he beat me with a piece of metal, a pipe or something, a crowbar. And then they get him back on.
I was across the street with my daughter's grandma.
She's got kids. Holy fuck.
When Kobe came down with the officer,
With other people.
did he say anything to you?
I can't remember exactly what he said. It was just I don't remember. I mean, he was saying stuff to me, yeah, but I don't remember what he had said. I don't.
All right.
And they just kept telling him to be quiet. I remember that, but
This is after he had beaten her.
I don't believe I have any further questions for the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Gibson? Mary, this is Kobe's attorney. You met him.
Did you want me to go back for anything, OPT lawyer? Because he didn't
No.
interrupt at all. He didn't.
No,
interrupt
no,
anything,
no.
So I didn't think I was missing.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. All right, here we go.
Briefly last week. He's got questions for you as well. You're still under oath. Mr. Gibson?
Thank you. So the lighter fluid or starter fluid that fell down and then splashed, I guess, that happened, and was it lighter fluid or starter fluid?
it was like starting fluid for a car.
Was it thrown at you?
I think. I think that's what it's for.
But Kobe didn't intentionally pour that fluid on you, correct?
I mean, I don't know. I think it might have just had gotten knocked off and got all over me. I mean, I just know it was all over me.
It just got hit.
It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I just happened to accidentally throw lighter fluid on her.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it.
But you don't remember Kobe intentionally putting that on you.
She had been hit in the head with a
No.
crowbar. I'm surprised
He
she
did
remembers her
intentionally
name.
do the other things, but I don't know.
I mean, props to the
I
defense
know
lawyer.
that-
He's doing what he's supposed to.
Yeah,
this
at
point he
least
is.
at this point, yeah, but
He had let the other lady totally go everywhere she wanted to go, and he did not object once. There was hearsay, right, in it?
I believe so at some point. Like
It
a lot of
was
this
just
stuff.
a coincidental lighter fluid spill right after a fight. That's all.
Which happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anyone could. It could happen to anyone.
Did you want me to go back and show how he didn't do anything? Or
No.
Really? Oh, sorry. I know that you were very scared. You believe that Kobe intentionally tried to physically injure you?
I think he just wanted me to be quiet. I don't know.
I think he just wanted me to be
I don't know
quiet.
what his intentions were. You know, he was just trying to get out of the house so we would stop fighting, but
Can you guys please stop all trying to hide people? Because what you're doing is you're unhiding people that have been hidden. I'm sorry. I don't. Please just stop.
Is this in chat?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like, how many times do I got to say it?
Let us take care of it, okay? Cliff and I, we're on the case. We're watching. Don't hide anybody. We'll take care of that. You can time them out all you want. Just don't hide anybody. Because you're unhiding people we've hidden.
Did you seek any medical attention after the incident?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
What did you do?
My sister just took me like to the Sturgis hospital.
Were you examined by a physician?
Yeah.
Did you have any injuries that you believe resulted from Kobe?
I mean, I didn't, like, nothing was broke or nothing was, like, fractured or anything.
I have no further questions.
I have a couple. Mary, were either, well, let me ask this first. Was Kobe drinking or using any drugs?
Now listen to this.
I don't know. We had been away from each other all day. We weren't around each other. So it's like, I had just showed up here and like.
Well, did he act like he was intoxicated or high?
I mean, he didn't really act any different than normal, no.
So yes.
So he normally acts.
No, he
high.
wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it's my address. It's my.
Well, there was a
apartment.
bond condition. Was there a bond condition from an earlier case to prohibit him from being there?
Yeah. Or I mean, we weren't supposed to have contact.
Oh, if you're wondering, yes, the judge is allowed to ask questions.
Yeah. And that's every state, right?
Had you had anything to
pretty
drink or
much.
used any drugs?
No, I had just been seeing my daughter. And I had been sober at that point. It's when I had got sober.
All right, thank you very much. Does that raise questions for anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mary, I'm gonna leave you here. I'm gonna mute your microphone. I'm going to.
Now he's gonna.
All right, any further testimony, Ms. Davis? Kobe, I tried turning this back on, but you're.
He can't help himself.
No, he can't.
I'm turning this off. This is a hearing with some
gonna lose it.
decorum.
He's trying to.
He's mad because he can't speak, and he wants to communicate with you, Miss Lindsay, and I've shut off his camera. He can hear us and see us. Mr. Gibson, anything you wish to present?
The defense has no witnesses, Your Honor.
Mary, you weren't here yet. Kobe has been charged with a new series of crimes for his alleged telephone calls to you from the jail.
Oh shit.
Subsequent to our last hearing on March 2nd.
Oh shit.
And he's got another hearing coming up. Ms. Davis, motions on this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, before we go into that, because it obviously is appearing that Mr. Harris would like to speak, I think it would be appropriate for him to have the chance to speak with his attorney before we go into final arguments. I don't want to see an issue with appeal.
Let me put Mary in the waiting room.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll bring Kobe back.
Oh, they can let the city speak?
Video.
Yeah.
I mean,
Crying. Look at him.
Mr. Harris, if you could get the jail staff to unmute the microphone,
He's losing it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's been a while since I saw it.
Staff, could you help unmute the microphone?
Just FYI to everybody out there, that's not how you get things done in any situation, whether it be at a restaurant because your coffee's not hot enough, or in a courthouse. That's not how you get things done.
No.
I bet you've seen Winston handle things better than this.
Oh no, Winston is smooth as can be. He'll talk the pants off of the fucking elephant. Like, I don't know if that was the best example, but
I got
it. And everybody knows Winston. Like, he's just like, hey, what's going on? Let me talk to you about robots. And they're like, oh, here's my wallet. Just take whatever you want.
Yeah. Look at him.
He just got a just for an update. Winston just got a report card 3 days ago, straight A's.
Nice.
Why am I not shocked? If you did that thing like parents used to do, like I don't know what it would be now. When I was a kid, it was like $5 for an A, but it's probably a lot more now.
I gave him a $100 bill.
Nice.
That's good. Okay.
But he was just like, okay, because to him, straight A's is just that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. It's like it would be like patting him on the head, be like, dude, you brushed your teeth. Like,
congrats.
To him, straight A's is just straight A's. Like,
it's breathing to him, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
No.
Look at him, he's throwing
I can no longer unmute it from my end. I used to be able to mute and unmute people from the other end. Hi, could you get somebody to unmute the mic in the Polycom room? He doesn't know how to do it. He's having a rough go with it.
Yeah, I'll radio let them know.
All right, thanks.
Why isn't anybody helping him, though? Come on, seriously. He's talking to somebody in there. And nobody's moved, At the jail.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
it's like they couldn't care less.
Maybe their SOPs are just to let them burn themselves out.
He probably tested all their patients.
Oh, I'm sure,
I mean, that's also likely.
And he's about to unload on his attorney. I did see this. Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Well,
this
we waiting
is so
for that,
difficult.
right? The super chat we just got in. By the way, but from Jeff Hartz. Sorry, Cliff, you do it.
Okay. By the way, if you've watched every episode of all the Law and Order shows, does that count as a Sovset law degree?
No, because you'd at least learn something from Law and Order.
I had to do that one. Sorry.
The defendants don't know how to unmute the microphone, and
they're not allowed to.
apparently they just left him there by himself.
We could probably just get caught up on super chats while we figure out where we're supposed to be.
Oh, now he's Slim Shady.
All right. So we got a couple here. The Trinity is the one new member. Welcome to the bunkers. Okay. Mystic Magnolia, $5. Judge Middleton deleted the video the next day because he did not feel it was fair to the victim.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. It had been up for a while.
Okay.
No. I think he deleted their version of it, but like by then all the news media's had it. Like,
Okay. Jeff Hartz for $5 says, "I know judges can ask questions. I watched Law and Order. LOL." And we got one from Eva. I just want to. It's not a super chat, but she supports the channel, so I want to read it. A question for the panel: was it often that lawyers don't object because they know someone is guilty?
That's not the reason why you don't object.
Well, more to the point, you just don't think it'll do any good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you think it's just going to be a fruitless endeavor anyway, there's no point in objecting sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And you can't ask a question if you know the answer is going to be a lie.
Yeah, never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fast forward till he gets back.
Muted at that end. I muted it, but they've got to unmute it at that end.
I'll call back and tell them.
No,
I can't.
They got it.
I can stop the video, but I can't unmute it. There we go. We're back.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, now.
Mr. Harris, you're quite agitated. We took the testimony. I blocked your video and I blocked your audio, and because it appeared to me you were trying to signal to Mary. Mary's not here. The prosecutor's about to make her argument to bind the matter over, and your attorney's going to argue the other way. Would you like an opportunity?
Yeah, I'd like to fire my attorney and represent myself for the rest of this case, please, because he hasn't done anything that I've asked him.
Oh, that's real smart.
I sent him a whole paper of questions to ask her and asked him to come see me before this court date. He hasn't. Paul Gibson's a bum-ass dude, and he should not practice this profession because he's not doing anything for...
All right, well, that went well.
I love Middleton.
Yeah.
I love this guy so much.
As I said, like I saw some things in this hearing that kind of like irked me, but not like that, not like that level.
Yeah, but you were on trial though.
I agree, OPT. I mean, a better job could have been done, but Clarence Darrow can't do anything about you calling on the prison phone that's recorded and making admissions.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing you can do.
That's no, absolutely, yeah. But this is it's like some technical things that I saw. I'm like, I would do that differently. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I saw some people calling ineffective assistance to counsel. For that to actually work, you have to show reasonable probability that the outcome would have been different. That's not going to happen here.
Yeah. But this Paul Gibson dude, he could probably maybe not look like a hostage.
Yeah.
Some antidepressants or something.
He could look a little bit more stoic.
He needs some antidepressants.
Or pretend to care a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, I saw somebody, a lawyer, say that there was some hearsay that he should have been calling out.
Probably.
Yeah. I think it was Artie who said that. Wasn't it Artie?
Natalie, I think,
It might have been Natalie. It might have been Natalie, yeah.
Yeah, Artie never makes good points, so it couldn't have been him.
Should I continue? I don't know if there's anything
more. Discuss that further later. He's apparently dissatisfied.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And he's got Mr. Gibson on his new case. Between March 2nd and today, Mr. Gibson, did you speak to the defendant?
Oh, God.
Was that the last court date?
He doesn't know.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, if he's a public defender, he's probably got a ton of clients.
Right. But he's not doing himself any favors. He's just...
Yeah.
Like,
no, he's not.
He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know. He looks like he doesn't even know who Kobe is. But we don't know for sure if he's a public defender, do we?
I don't know.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do.
He's the guy that violated his bond on video in a Zoom conference on the last appearance.
Right.
Then proceeds to make a recorded phone call with a bunch of admissions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he should definitely know this guy.
Wait, all right, so can I ask, has anybody here heard the phone conversations?
No, I have not.
Like
I don't know
what
if they
he
made those
said?
public.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
But based on my personal experience, it's probably something along the lines of, "Oh, baby, if you don't show up, you know they can't do anything to me, and what? Don't do this to me." And I mean, if I hit all the points, there goes. Yeah.
Yes, it's bad for the underlying offense, and of course, it's a violation of his conditions.
Of course, but that hasn't stopped him yet. So
it's just all kinds of bad.
And when the judge tells you that your microphone is muted and you continue to scream into the microphone, it's a bad look.
Yeah. You might say that.
All right, we're getting called out by innocent auditor. You are. After you shared my video, I've gotten over 30 threats. FYI, maybe talk to your community and have that stopped if you can. I know if my community did that, I would try to stop it. Your frauditors do more than that. First of all,
Can we go back? Can we go back and read the emails of the guy that says he's going to show up at my house?
Yeah.
That he knows my neighbors and he's going to show up at my house and punk me on video.
Uh-huh.
Can we read those? I mean, we could if y'all want to.
I think it's a good idea, probably.
Well, then bring up my not my most recent video, but the one before that.
Okay.
Because this is going dead anyway.
Yeah, it's over.
And we'll talk about threats.
Amazing audits one.
Hold
Hold
on, let me go here. It's the amazing audits one.
Okay.
For that car.
Here it is.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Talk about an issue that's become a real problem in today's society, and that problem is extreme butt hurt. If you have a really good memory, you probably remember this guy from a video that I made about him, in which he climbed the side of a courthouse and harassed the police until they finally arrested him. Well, in the longest delayed reaction of all time, he copyright struck that video a few days ago, almost 18 months after I put it up. That, however, was not enough to cure his butt hurt. Here are some emails that he sent me. You're soft and scared. You're just a little wuss with no balls and no heart. Fake fuck. I'll see you in person soon enough. We'll see if you keep that same energy when I'm in your face. I'll bet you won't say a word or make a sound in my presence. I'll bet you'll hold your head to the ground out of respect. I know your type all too well. You're weak and feminine.
It sounds like your butt hurts pretty bad.
I'm from Virginia too. I know where you live and I may even know one of your neighbors. I can't wait.
Which can I say is not a big deal since you put your address out there, right?
I did it all by myself.
There you go.
To see
Show
you.
up, bitch.
You talk all that shit behind people's backs, but you're a bitch in person, and I'm going to prove it once and for all. You're going on my channel. I'm going to punk you on camera.
I know. I mean, your butt really takes a beating.
How dare a little weak coward like you reach out to someone like me? Pussies like you aren't allowed to speak to warriors like me. You aren't good enough or worthy enough. You're allowed to quietly look and stare in awe. That's it. Don't you ever again in your life reach out or respond to me. Watch and listen. That's it.
Well, you know what? I have some good news for you. There's this new product out there just for this sort of thing.
How is this guy a warrior?
Now on to today's idiot.
Okay.
So, but just
So,
to make it clear,
innocent auditor, do you still want to talk about threats? Like, really, you want to talk about threats?
but just to make it clear, we do not condone any threats coming from our people, right?
No, and that's why. What have I been doing this? Yeah, that's why I give wrenches to the opposition until they abuse them. But no, if anybody from my camp is threatening you, you have my email. It's on. It's in my. It's on my page. Email me. Email me the username of the person who's threatening you, and I'll address it.
So now you can't say shit. Bye. Okay then. I think that's all we had.
All right. Do we want to find something else to look at, or shut it down, or what are we going to do here?
I do need to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's start. We'll do counterclockwise this time. Mike, say what you got coming up, and say goodbye, and say all that.
Well, thanks. Goodbye, everybody. It was nice to talk to you, OPT, especially because I had the rest of the group last time. Hi, Cliff again.
Hello.
I know Artie. I've been on his channel a bunch. I do have a premiere starting tomorrow at noon Central Standard Time. It's fun. It's sovereign sit stuff, and I've actually got some civil stuff for the first time. It's fun. It really is. I get a little bit of them filing civil complaints. It's good stuff.
Nice.
So good night, and thank you for having me, Schrodinger. It's always a good time.
No worries. We're going to do this once a month if I have anything to say about it. Well,
Sounds
if
good.
the audience has anything to say about it, because that's the final arbiter.
And actually, we're going to do it since I'm in charge of scheduling now.
Okay. Artie, what you got?
Thanks again for having me on. In about half an hour or maybe an hour from now, I'm going to go live on my other channel to check out the Resident Evil Village demo that's released. So check that out. Beyond that, like I said, I still will be talking about Sharon Gale's transcripts, but also I will be getting to the Russian Mark Stevens acolyte and his his trial hearing, and I'll definitely be breaking that down. So thanks again for having me on.
Mark Stevens has so many victims.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's ridiculous. OPT.
What do you think? Tomorrow I'm probably going to be streaming more Binding of Isaac on my channel. I'm terrible at the game, and yet people still watch me play it because I'm bad at it. I might go live on my YouTube channel tomorrow just to update people on my cancer blog. Other than that, that's about all I got. So thanks for having me. This is always a blast, and it's good to meet all of you. And Mike, again, good to meet you for the first time. The last time I was unfortunately admitted to the hospital, so I couldn't see you guys. But no, it's cool to get to hang out with you guys again. I miss you guys.
That was actually an excuse. He was like, "Oh, Mike's going to be there." No.
It's like, I'm going to get surgery. Screw that.
Yeah. Cliff, if we have any super chats, do those and then say your goodbyes, and then we'll head on to AMG.
Cool, yeah, we do. So Jeff Hartz for $5 says Judge Middleton should take over in syndication when Judge Judy moves on next year to Netflix, and Paul Gibson can be his bailiff. Jeff Hartz for $5 again. By the way, happy belated Alien Day, happy May Day, and happy Star Wars Day for Tuesday, and happy Barbecue Day. I'm Marvel Girl, and enjoy Hawaii SC. Okay, Elder Grown $5 says, where can I find the prosecutor's OnlyFans?
Deborah. Yeah.
Okay.
She has a lot of fans.
Yeah. Jeff Hartz for $5 says, hey, if I hadn't watched that one yet, I was saving it for Sunday brunch. Thanks a lot, guys. Laughy face. Looks like that's it. So I just want to say thank you for having me here. Thanks all for your super chats. Love you all. Have a great...
Christopher Saman.
Yeah, it just came in. Okay. Christopher Saman for $10 says, looks like someone won their copyright dispute. Booty hurt morons always embarrass themselves. Quick question for lawyers. Have you ever represented Sovtars? If so, I'm sorry for you.
Yes, sort of.
Yeah, I think OPT had a run-in with one.
So a lawyer in my firm that I was working with was appointed to be shadow counsel for a Sov. I mean, she had all the Sovsit arguments, so it was basically Sovsit. Because she was going to jury trial, and he couldn't be there for the jury selection, so he asked me to go down and cover for him. And I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, is there anything I can answer for you?" She's like, "Nope." Okay. You got any questions? I'll be right over there. Like, all right. Cool.
Was it bad?
It was bad. Like, okay. I personally think if a police officer could be a good juror member on a jury for a criminal case, but I would strike them every time regardless.
Right.
And she didn't. In fact,
did you handle our dear for another?
I could no. I was standby counsel. I could do nothing. I could do nothing but sit there and watch
this go down. Oh man.
Yeah, I had to sit there and just be like, again, the only thing I could do is if she had questions, she could ask me and then I could answer them. That's it. Because she was representing herself. I was just her standby counsel, as we call it here. So
for a second, let me. So she let a cop onto the jury?
She was going to. I think the prosecutor struck him out of sympathy. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Like it was his last preemptory, and I think he struck. It was a state trooper, but still, And I'm like, and I swear, I think it was complete like sympathy because this woman clearly had no.
It would have been on appeal that it would have been. It would have been grounds for appeal.
No, it wouldn't have been because because she decided to represent herself. She decided not to participate in jury voir dire. She decided not to ask any questions or use any peremptories. She decided not to take advantage of the. She decided not to take advantage of the legal advisor she was appointed. So
Wait a minute. So she did. It's not that she knew he was a cop and she was letting him on. She just wasn't.
She knew. She knew she was a cop because he said so.
Yeah, but she didn't.
She's just like no. She didn't ask any questions and when asked, "Hey, do you have any purpose?" Like no.
Oh wow.
They took the first 12 less the prosecutor strikes. That's what they took.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's bad.
It's a bad play.
Yeah. And then he showed up. The attorney showed up for the rest of the trial, so I didn't stick around because I'm like, forget this. Shockingly,
why would you?
This might surprise you. She was found guilty of one of 4 people that were transporting drugs from Michigan to I want to say Pennsylvania, and got stopped here in Ohio.
Amazing. All right. Anything else, Cliff?
Just a little advice, just completely unrelated. Everyone, make sure your license plate lights still work.
Yeah. And
nothing to do with what I just talked about getting pulled over. Not a thing.
Yeah. And we're going to say this. Don't talk to cops. 1, 2, 3. Don't talk to cops.
Don't talk to cops. We got one more from Christopher Salmon for $5. Says, have the soft starts ever attempted in place of your job? I think we just answered that, didn't we? Because the person was representing themselves. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, go ahead.
All right. Yep. Tina.
Oh. Okay. On the 15th of this month is my birthday stream.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'll have, Schrodinger will be there, Radical will be there, Conspiracy Cats will be there. I believe Burgo's going to even try to, it's a roast of me. And Cliff,
nice.
of course. And, last year was a blast. This year should be good. And then, if you love us and you want to see some more of us, I'm always on Radical's games. What is it? Radical Plays?
Yeah.
We play twice a week at like Fall Guys and stuff like that, and I'm really bad, so you can laugh at me. And Believe in Blop on Twitch. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, Marvel.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll probably have a couple videos the next few days, and then on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be my 80,000 subscriber special. Assuming I get there. If not, everybody gets to show up and laugh at me.
Congratulations.
For not being
That's
there
awesome.
by then. And I guess that's just about it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for all the channel members. Thank you, News Now Ninja, for showing us who you are.
Yeah.
Innocent Auditor, you're going to keep your wrench with good behavior. Along with all my other moderators, I've laid out the rules. We don't just arbitrarily mute people, time out people. There's rules to this. It's my channel. I get to say what those rules are. So that's what that is. If nobody has anything else, then we're going to say good night. Panel, do you have anything else?
Nope, that was fun. Good night.